app in the respective app stores on iOS and Android. And ZingoTV, they're also available on Roku Sticks, Amazon Fire TV Sticks, Google Chromecast, and all smart TVs 2016 forward. We're also on the H.E.R network. Drew wanted to be on the H.E.R network, so there you go, Drew. I do what Captain Canada wants. And Steve Carney's here. We're going to be joined by an all-star cast here. But Steve, did Drew send you an on-point shirt yet? Look at this. He's on the Barn Burner TV network. Is there any Barn Burner stuff that you can't wear? You have to put on point. Steve Carney wants one of those shirts.
We're working on it.
Right.
Come in.
There you go. Yeah, I'm right now. I just have my Tampa Bay shirt on.
Okay. Tampa Bay. Wow. Okay.
All right. So first of all, we'll start off NFL till these guys come here. As you know, Drew likes the Philadelphia Eagles, and Steve.
Yeah, you know what? They are the division leaders.
What you muted yourself, Drew? Don't you know how to work this? What kind of professional are you?
What?
No, that's called he's cussing you out and he doesn't want you to hear it.
No. Listen.
No, I got a call come in there. I said, I don't just like the Philadelphia Eagles. That's my squad from way.
And Drew's squad is leading the NFC least.
First place, baby. We don't business. First place.
That's right.
And they lose 2 games, and then Washington wins, and they're not. They're in last place. So look. Come on. All right, Steve, let me ask you this. With the NFL, since we're starting off, have you ever seen a worse division in all of football?
Yeah, I have. I'm not this year. I haven't, but I've seen. There have been years when the AFC East has just been absolutely horrendous. Whether you're talking about not in the last 20 years, but the Patriots have always. There have been years where it's like the Patriots. You go back to that 95 season when I believe the winner of the AFC East went 8-8.
Yeah, but who's leading the AFC East right now?
Well, that would be the team that went 8-8 and won the AFC East in 95. That would be the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, and Buffalo Bills. Wait a minute, what's the record right now?
I have no idea. It's
6-2.
It's pretty good in a division that is almost as bad as the NFC East.
No, it's not. Drew Ebanks, he's checking up the next.
He's got stuff to do.
What do you mean stuff to do? Come on, it's not basketball season. Come on. All right.
Always basketball season for Drew Ebanks. Come on, Captain Canada is always working. He's never not hustling. He is Mr. NNH himself. Never not hustling.
Wait a minute, that's me, NNH.
What do you want? Hey, what are you taking my name for, man? He gave me a name. Wait a minute.
If there's anybody who takes names, I made you Captain Canada. Every post that you do on Point Basketball there on Instagram, by the way, the guy has 25,000 followers. Steve, he
29.
Says,
29. Almost 30. Don't shortchange me 4,000.
No, never shortchange.
Okay, I'm not
Mr. Never Not Hustling. By the way, Joe, you are Mr. No Days Off.
That's right.
I'll accept that. I'll accept that. When's the last time you slept, Steve? I work 26 hours a day.
Yeah, I feel like that right about now. Whereas I've been stuck at my station through the entire pandemic. I have not taken a single day of vacation this year. So, it's going to be nice here come Monday when I actually have some time off.
So, Steve, I want to introduce you. He's a world famous. He was a sportscaster for CFTO TV here in Toronto for about, well, I'm not going to say how many years, but
100 or 120.
No, that was more. Come on. But Steve Carney, Joe Tilley, Steve Carney's the pre and post game show host for everything in Tampa Rays, Tampa Bay Lightning. Stanley Cup champions, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. Very nice.
All right, Steve, Joe Tilley. All right, so Joe, we're talking about the NFL, and I know this. Steve, listen to who's your favorite team, Joe, in the NFL right now?
Buffalo Bills. Never changes.
Say it again.
Buffalo Bills, baby.
Yes.
Well,
Drew,
of course,
you guys-
everybody in Toronto is a fan of the Buffalo Bills because the Bills
No.
played there.
Not
Well,
really.
you know what? That's right. For so many years, I mean, maybe before your time, guys, but there was a time when that was the only game you get here in Southern
Absolutely.
Ontario.
Yeah,
the Buffalo Bills was the Sunday game that you get,
I just
and
think
you
I
didn't
just
have
think
any
it's
other choice.
I just think it's hilarious that when the Bills used to play at Rogers Center, and this wasn't that long ago that the Bills were playing at Rogers Center for a game.
Yeah,
You end up having
ridiculous.
well, but it's just hilarious to see them have to change the configuration of the field because going from the CFL style fields with the 110 yards long and the 66 yards wide and the goalposts at the goal line instead of at the end line, like they should be. But I can only imagine, like I've seen, what has to go through, like to change a field from say baseball to football. We've had to do it here in St. Petersburg for a couple of bowl games and for things that are going on in college football, going from baseball to football, but going from the NFL to the CFL, that's got to be real crazy because you got to uproot the goalposts and widen everything. Just very, very strange.
Yeah, it was, but it was not a good. The experiment was terrible. It was never going to work because I think the idea was that somehow they thought that Toronto would sort of adopt Buffalo as a quasi their team as well, and but the way people in Toronto looked at it was it's the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
they're playing a couple of games here. They're trying to soak us for a whole lot of money. And it's not a good feeling. It would be different if they said, okay, here's the deal. You guys host 2 games a year for the next 3 years. We just want to experiment here. If this works out, Toronto's going to get an NFL team. Well, that would be different. Then you would say, okay, but it was just a money grab. And it was just, no.
Well,
it's too bad because I would love to see an exchange. Like I remember, and it's funny that I'm going to bring up a name of a team that absolutely people are going to be like, really? I used to love watching the Sacramento Gold Miners.
Wow.
When the CFL expanded into the United States and they played and they had the team in Baltimore and they had the team
Stallions.
The Stallions, and they had
who did great.
Yep, they had
won the Grey Cup, I think, one year.
Yeah, they did.
They were the last American team to win the Grey Cup, and then you had
Don Matthews coached.
Yep, the Sacramento Gold Miners, and you had San Antonio. I remember there was a team in San Antonio, and I think there was one in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes.
That I remember because I was in the Navy when this happened. So this was in the 90s, watching the Sacramento Gold Miners in Birmingham in the CFL, and I took to the Gold Miners. So
all right, so Steve, I'm going to ask you. Your team is Tampa.
Yes.
Drew Ebank's team. No wonder he's called Captain Canada. He likes Joe. Listen to this. He likes the first place Philadelphia Eagles. All right.
The first place.
Yeah.
That is funny. Yeah, they are. They are. They are.
True.
I'll ask the same question that I asked Steve a couple seconds ago. Joel, have you ever seen a worse division in football ever?
No. I can't ever remember an entire division, being under 500. The entire division being under 500 at this stage of the season. I can't remember that.
The only thing I can remember is that year the Carolina Panthers were 7-9 and ended up winning a playoff game.
Yeah,
I think.
But the whole division, like that. This division and let's face it. Well, even if
the NFC least
a game, if Philadelphia wins a game or two, and Washington wins a game or two, guess who's in first place?
Hopefully the Washington football team.
Yeah. Deal with that anyway. When's that name going to be changed? When are they going to get the?
It's not going to be next year.
When the election is over. Come on.
Well, now the word is that they're going to keep that name for next year as well. So that's
Why?
how. Well, because they can't figure out exactly what they want to call the team that isn't racist. So they
Put a contest up, let people submit names and graphic people.
Yeah, the problem is that you have to clear everything, and there's all the lawyers and stuff like that. I actually don't mind the uniforms now. The number on the side of the helmet. I mean,
it's pretty vintage.
Old school.
And I like I think it looks cool. I think it's
It looks
different.
great, but it needs a name. The team needs a name. It looks cool. They need a name.
I've been calling them Washington for 12 years. Ever since I
too.
started doing the NFL. Yeah, when I started doing the Buccaneers games in 2009, when I would talk about them, I never used the name. I've always called them Washington.
Me neither. When I was on TV, I never called them anything but Washington. And it just, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It's so offensive. It's ridiculous, right?
You guys were ahead of your time there because people really didn't care about being sensitive and politically correct.
For Washington, don't forget the NBA team. What was the Washington name? NBA team before
Bullets.
They were the Bullets. Yeah.
Come on,
that's a little crazy too, right?
Everything with Washington there, right? So it's
I know it's weird, but I mean, if talking about Washington, that's going to bring us to a topic on the other side in Major League Baseball. There's talk about the team in Cleveland, the Indians, and the team in Atlanta, the Braves, dropping those names and changing their names as well.
They should.
I'm okay with Atlanta keeping the Braves as long as they drop the Native American. All the Native American behind it, the tomahawk,
the chanting and the
chanting.
Tomahawk shop.
I'm okay with the Braves. The colors are fine. They're red, white, and blue. You say it's the home of the brave, the home of the Braves. I think that's fine. Cleveland's got to change theirs. There's no doubt that I think that Cleveland's got to change. Is going to change theirs. But that's going to be a couple of years of work too, just like the Washington football team. You've got lawyers and everything that have to stick their grubby little mugs in there. So, that's why this takes so long.
So, Steve, let me ask you this: since your team went to the World Series, okay? Now,
yes, they did.
Agency is opening up here, and
yes, they
the
did.
Blue Jays or I should say, former Cleveland pitcher Trevor Bauer is rumored to come to Toronto. All right,
he's rumored to go everywhere though.
Yeah,
possibility. Yeah.
According, I don't know, Joe and Drew, if you heard, according to some sources in the Blue Jays, they're open to spend up to $75 million this year. Okay, so I'll ask Steve first, and I'll go around the table. Drew, I know it's baseball, so but you know what I mean. Steve, is it worth? You get $75 million. Who's the first free agent that you call if you're Shapiro and Atkins?
I'd probably call Nolan Arenado to shore up third base, and that will allow you to leave either Vladdy Jr. or Rowdy
Vlad
Tellez.
lost 32 pounds. Vlad lost 32 pounds.
He looks good.
When?
I saw
when?
He just announced he announced it himself. He lost 32 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, he's down. He's down in the Dominican. He's dropped 32 pounds. I think I found most of it, Joe. The pandemic. I've lost most.
That's not good, Steve. That's not good, man.
I found most of it in the pandemic. But I
cut down those carbs, man.
Oh, you can't do that, man. So can't do that. What am I going to eat then? I have to actually cook something.
See, ballpark feud. First of all, Steve, when you go to the Rays game, how's because Norm's going to come on here in about 10 minutes. Norm is notorious for eating everything in the media. Okay. Laughing. Okay.
Media meals.
How's the food in the Tampa Bay ballpark for media?
Well, this year it was box lunches, and I'm sure that it's like that. It's like that almost everywhere now. Because of the pandemic, we had box lunches, so it was sandwich and chips, and nothing but carbohydrates, and it was and I'm sure that's perfect for Norm. But I look at but if I'm to get back to your question about who am I going after, I'm going after Nolan Arenado. to shore up the defense first and foremost. Because I think for the amount of money that you're going to spend on Trevor Bauer, and you don't know will Trevor Bauer only go for a 1-year deal because the collective bargaining agreement's up after next year and he may want to try and cash in again. If that's the case, then I would definitely stay away from Bauer. I would go to Arenado and then use the money that's left over to go after, say, 3 or 4 other guys that are going. There's 2 guys that I would stay away from. I would stay away from Trevor Bauer, and I would stay away from Marcus Stroman. As much as I know that you guys in Toronto know Marcus Stroman and you love Marcus Stroman, I would stay away from him. I mean, you're talking about a guy that hasn't thrown a single inning since 2019.
I wouldn't say we love Marcus Stroman, Joe. What would you say?
I like Marcus Stroman. I do. I think that the knock against Marcus is that he wears his emotions on his sleeve, and some people see that as a negative. I don't. I think I like Marcus Stroman's gung ho-ness, right? I like his the energy he brings to the game. When he's on his game, you wait, the fist pumps, the way I think he brings energy to the team, and I think he has value. I think he loves it here, didn't want to leave here, and that was one of the reasons that he was so upset when he left here and said some things he probably shouldn't have. But I wouldn't be opposed to signing Mark. I'd go with George Springer to be the guy that I'd
That's who I would take. All right, Drew, anything with baseball wise you want to add?
It's a lot of money.
Pitching.
In a pandemic. Yeah, pitching.
Get pitching. That's my 2 words for it.
Drew's not
but
wrong.
I like Stroman. Yeah. I like Stroman's energy. I agree. But I'm not a big fan, guys, of like the guys that have been here and hey, just for not just only sentimentality, but hey, let's get him back.
And he's
Once again, he mutes himself. You muted yourself.
Drew, you got too excited and you muted yourself, buddy.
Look, he's pulling up Marcus Stroman right now. Yeah. Pump your chest. Pump your chest. You muted yourself. Look at him.
I had a phone call from New Zealand. I don't know what's going on there.
Maybe they're
Marcus Stroman calling you.
Are they looking to extend your car's limited warranty? Because those are the calls that I get.
Oh, really? Yeah, I get the Chinese. I get the Chinese messages all the time.
Oh yeah, I get those too.
Those are crazy.
But apparently, I need my. Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say. Apparently, I need my ducts cleaned because I get a call.
I get that every day. Every day, and
about 3 times a day.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I've stopped getting the texts asking me who I'm voting for.
Yeah.
I was getting there was a point I was getting almost a dozen of them a day. Like, can we count on your vote? And it would be like, no. I'm like, just because you've texted me, I'm going the other way.
So for Joe and Drew, Steve, the manager of the Blue Jays, Charlie Montorio, you know him very well.
Great friend of mine.
How do you think first year? Okay, the Blue Jays had a terrible year last year, but this year surprised everybody. Do you see a progression? Because if what they're doing for Blue Jays, they're trying to duplicate what they did in Tampa.
Yeah, they really are. And I think that the Blue Jays are on a really good course. You've got young, hungry players that are under team control for quite a while. You've supplemented it with some strong pieces in free agency and in trades, going out and getting Hyunjin Ryu in free agency last year, making some of the trades that they made this year at the deadline to help supplement. I think that they are probably only a piece or two away from being significant contenders in that division in the American League East. I think ahead of the Yankees. I don't know if they've gotten quite to the Rays level. Now the Rays have some work in front of them because they've decided that they wanted to decline the option for Charlie Morton. I still think Morton comes back to Tampa Bay this year. They decline the option on Mike Zunino. I think Zunino comes back to Tampa Bay I don't think that they wanted to pay nearly $20 million for just those two guys. I think they come back on reduced deals, but I think both of them are back with the Rays in 2021. But they've got some other pieces that they need to make sure are, you know, that are in order. The Rays do, in order to maintain their, you know, advantage atop the division, or else they're going to get caught by a team like the Blue Jays.
Okay, so
did they want to run Kevin Cash out of town after he pulled snow?
A little bit. It wasn't, you know, there were a lot of people that are like, I can't believe that most everyone was like, I can't believe he did it. My response to that was, this is the exact same thing that he did in Game 7 of the ALCS with Charlie Morton against the Astros. It's the same thing he did in Game 5 of the ALDS against the Yankees. And it's the same thing that he's done all year. And the other thing that I'll point out is, if that game is 3-0 or 5-0, like it was in Game 2, Blake Snell's staying it. But it's 1-0, and the Dodgers did not get shut out at all last year. So you knew that they were going to score. The fact is that you didn't want it to have it come against Blake Snell. I think they were like, okay, we've gotten what we can out of Blake. Now we've got to go to our bullpen and see if we can somehow hold them off the board while we try and scrape together a run. And neither of those things happened. It was the right move. It's just like I say to people when you're playing blackjack, the shoe might be +8, but you still may bust out.
So I'm going to ask Joe Tilley to start around the table here. Los Angeles Dodgers player Turner. What are your thoughts on that, first of all? Yeah, Turner.
What are my thoughts about Turner?
Yeah, Turner.
The fact that he had COVID.
COVID in the 7th inning, and then coming out celebrating and taking a picture with the manager who just recently had cancer.
Well, I mean, I really don't know what was really going on there, because when did they find out that he had this
7th inning
COVID? That's when they found out.
Yeah.
So they didn't have any clue until then.
No.
So that's I know that's what they said, but is that you think that's real?
Steve, you probably know better than all of us.
I've been told that the test that he had the day prior was inconclusive, and so they had to do another rush test, and they did not get it back until the 2nd inning, and then finally they were able to get a hold of the people that were able to get Turner out of the game in the 7th inning.
Wow.
And then coming out and sort of knowing, and they told them, how many guys told them, Major League Baseball, stay here, you can't go out. He first of all went out without the mask, and then started partying, which, you know, if you're a player and you waited your entire career to win the World Series or Stanley Cup or whatever, I know what you're going through. But then kissing your wife on the field, and then taking a picture with all your teammates, let alone with all your teammates. What about the side tap of people still on the field?
Yeah, I understand why he would be excited and he'd want to be part of that. But I think there's a time when you have to put the betterment of all ahead of your own personal, aspirations. And I just think that it was a selfish move. I think if he was to ask his teammates, they might have said, come on out. They might have said, come on out. But you know what? Still, I don't think you should. I just don't think it's the right thing to do. I mean, it is, to me, it's just a bit of a selfish move.
All right, Drew, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, I know, and from what I heard, the results didn't come in till during the game, which is incredible to think he already, had it, and then he's playing the game, no clue that this is happening. Then to go out and kind of you put the rest of your teammates in jeopardy. But I see what Joe's saying. Once in a lifetime, who knows? You may not get there again. You're happy, you're elated, but it's just such a it's a tough situation because now I'm not sure what's come out of it, guys. Has anybody else from the team come back now positive since then? Because it's very risky, especially to come out with no mask. I mean, at least you could do certain things to at least, you know, mitigate anybody else. But imagine if somebody else on the team now gets sick, knock on wood, you never know what could happen. That's, to me, the tough part about it.
All right, I'm going to go back to Joe for 1 second. As you know, maybe you don't know, Joe Tilley is famous for horse racing, boxing, all these sports. But Joe, there's a huge horse race that Drew Ebanks wants to take some money and put some money down on some horses.
Let me know where, and I'll put it down. Let me know where. Which one should I go with?
Even American Steve Carney wants to put down some money. Borrow from more.
I have my longtime colleague, God bless him, he's no longer with us, Steve Dumig, was the biggest horse racing fanatic. He actually had stake in a couple of horses with another one of my former colleagues. Both he and my other colleague Chris Thomas are no longer with us. But he was the one who taught me how to look at the racing form and how to go, okay, these are the horses that you can immediately, you know, say nope, and then you cut a race down from, say, 12 horses or 8 horses to 3 or 4, and then you just play box trifecta and win yourself some cash.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, I mean, horse racing is like a crapshoot. It helps a bit to be able to read the form, and when you've got you know, horses that like to win, you know, those are the horses that like to win.
Yep.
And then they're used to winning. And believe it or not, like, if you may not think so, but some horses just like to be at the front. They don't like to trail anybody, and they don't mind trailing, you know, for a little while, and eventually they want to win the race. And that's why you've also got horses that just have to get to the front. They have to get to the front, and you have a hard time holding those horses back. And if you're talking about a 1.5 mile race like the Classic, you know, you're talking about a horse that's going to be, or no, the British Classic 1.25 miles, but you're talking about
like the Belmont,
right?
Yeah.
Belmont's 1.5 miles, so that's a horse where you got to have a little bit of patience as a jockey, and you got to hope your horse has a little bit of patience too. But
yeah, and then you're looking, and then of course weather condition will always factor into things. You know, you got to, if the weather's bad, you have to figure out, you know, what horses, you know, run well in slop, and then you figure, you know, because there are some horses that just don't like getting their hooves wet, and so
yeah, exactly. And you know what? Like, it's also you know, when you got European horses coming over too, it's also
because they're used to running on turf.
Yeah, and they're not used, and they don't run against each other, right? Some of the North American horses have run against each other, and some of these European horses haven't come over at all. Like, I mean, there's some horses that we all have heard of, like Tis the Law, you know, in the Classic, and you know, it has to be a horse you would Authentic, of course, is another horse that has some pedigrees. Won a big race. Baffert's one of the best trainers there is. Yeah, it's. See, I'll tell you what. There was one Breeders' Cup race a couple of years ago that it was a turf race, and the Europeans tend to do well in the turf races.
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 Irish breds in the race, and if you had to box the Irish breds in the trifecta, you, for $1, you would have won. I think it was like close to 20 grand.
That's incredible, because most people don't realize that you have to look at those, you know, the Epsom Derby and the Grand Nationals over there, especially if you're even thinking about wagering turf races. You have to know what horses are coming over from Europe, what horses are used to running clockwise on grass as opposed to counterclockwise on dirt. It's really it's one of the most important things to realize. Okay, this horse is from this farm and this stable in this country. Ooh. So
So
especially Irish ones.
Joe, for people who are watching and they want to make a few dollars, COVID time and everything like that, who give us two of your picks there. Who's your choice?
Well, okay, so in the classic, I think authentic is gonna have a shot. So is maximum security, and tis the law. Tis the law, and that's now you're talking about three horses that we know here from North America, but that's okay. I think that in a classic race on the dirt, North American horses tend to do well. It's when you get to the turf races. There's a Canadian horse in the turf race that I like in the Breeders' Cup Turf. Let me find it here. I can't remember her name. It's a filly.
Ooh, that's one. Yeah. That's one you'll probably get some value on if you.
Yeah, and she is Canadian, so that's let's see here. Here it is. Yeah, the turf.
Ooh, help out Joe. Come on.
Okay, so I'm getting here. Where is she? Okay.
I once covered the Queen's Plate for Global.
Yeah.
Did you win?
That was actually so dope. I had so much fun. It was the first time I was at Woodbine since I was a kid, and it was just cool seeing everybody dressed up and the hats, and it was unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
And Drew.
So here it is. Sorry, it's the filly in Mare Turf, Starship Jubilee.
Okay.
So this is a horse that won. This horse won the Woodbine Mile, $1 million race here in Toronto, and the jockey that rode the horse in Toronto is Stein. Does not get the ride in the Breeders' Cup. They're going with Florent Giroux, who's one of the top riders in the world. So, we had this discussion about switching riders, taking Justin Stein off and moving to Florent Giroux, because Florent Giroux has won the Breeders' Cup Classic. He's won like 3 or 4 other Breeders' Cup races. So he's a guy who's been there. He's one of the best riders in the world, period.
To me,
and so if you're taking your shot in a race like this, I think why not? $2 million race. So.
Yeah, to me, looking at the Classic, when I look at a lineup like you have here in the Classic, 10 horses, for me, and I was taught this by some of the smartest people that I know when it comes to betting the ponies. This is not a race that you can just bet to win, because the horses that are most likely going to win aren't going to provide you with enough of a return. Joe mentioned Tis the Law, which is 3-1 according to usracing.com, and probable is 5-2, and maximum security is 7-2. None of those horses are going to give you enough of a return to have any sort of return on your investment if you're just betting to win. This is certainly a race that you want to see. Okay, do you think have an opportunity to upset, and you put them at the top of a trifecta or a superfecta, and then you look at, if you wanted to go, like, I wouldn't even go with Tom's de Tot, at 6-1. I'd be looking at, I know Tacitus and Title Ready are 2 of the bigger long shots. And I really don't like Tacitus being in the number 1. I think they drew the number 1 post, so I would probably stay away from them. But Title Ready is in the middle of I think they drew the 5. It's 30-1, and then they're right next to Higher Power, who's also 20-1. I would look at one of those 2 horses and see if there's a situation that would make them kind of a little more of a value. And then you could put them at the top with, say, Improbable Authentic, or Improbable Maximum Security, or Improbable Tis the Law boxed underneath, and try and get your value that way with a trifecta.
Look at Steve crunching the numbers. All right, Steve.
Well, I like it what Steve's saying, but here's how I would do it. Okay, so here I would take if I would take the shot and say, okay, so I'm the horse that I would take in this race right now. I'm going to tell you is probably okay. I'm going to go with Tizlaw, but I also think that that higher power has a shot, right? So I'm going to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a trifecta key like this. I'm going to do 6 and 2, right? 6 and 2 with 2, 6. Who else do I like?
Probably
2,
9
6,
or 10.
2, 6, 8, and 9. Yeah, 2, 6, 8, and 9 with 2, 6, 8, 9, 10. That's going to be my try. And
Okay,
for a dollar, well, I mean, so maybe do more than that. But if you did a dollar try, that wouldn't cost you an awful lot of money. It just sounds, if you got 2 horses on top, followed by say 4, followed by say 5, it's only a bet that's going to cost you, I think, about $16, something like that.
I was gonna say I think it's 14 or $16 if my math is right.
Yeah,
that's a good
and you probably and especially if you can get like you said the 6, if the 6 hits it up top, that's going to be a trifecta that's going to pay you at least $200.
But even if they go to say 2, 6, maybe even if Tizlaw wins and say right now is 3-1 the favorite? No, 5-2 is the favorite.
5-2 is the favorite.
Yeah. So even now, so he's a second choice. So Improbable would be your favorite. So he's the second choice. And if you like, I like Tizlaw over Improbable. So I would, he's the second choice. He's still going to be okay. And then if your 10-1 shot comes in second, right? And then you're and then say like it's a 20-1, I think, isn't it?
The 6 is 20-1.
21. Yeah. So you're say your 20-1 comes in second, and then whoever you got, like I can't remember what I had.
You had 2,
and
6,
it there.
Or
Yeah.
2, 6,
So
10.
right. So then it doesn't matter, right? So then if you're if 10 comes in, say Maximum Security comes in third, then that's going to pay well. That's going to pay real well.
Yeah, that's
because anytime the favorite doesn't win or plays second, the try is nice.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, that's a for a $1 try, or for a $1 try. That's what, $120.
Yeah, $25. Yeah,
something like that.
No, that'd pay more than that.
Okay.
I think it would pay more than that. It all depends on the pool, of course, but
yeah,
I think it would pay more than that. If the favorite's out of there for a $1 try, I think you're probably looking more like about 300.
Okay.
Wow. All right, Steve. When's the last time you watched because Joe is also known for boxing? When's the last time you watched a good boxing fight?
Oh my God. It's been a while. I think the last fight that I actually paid to watch was
1940. You never paid.
No, not that. I'm not that old, Joe. The last one.
Leonard Hearns.
Well, the Hagler Hearns is my favorite fight of all time.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah.
That was what was it? 9 minutes of the 9-minute war.
Bridled aggression for 9 minutes.
That's what it is.
That was phenomenal. Yeah.
No, the last fight that I actually paid to see though was Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last fight I
paid. It depends what you like. There's a couple of big fights last weekend that Davis. Anyway, Davis. He's Floyd Mayweather protege.
Yeah,
he was fighting a guy named Leo Santa Cruz, and he landed a Gennaro Davis. I can't remember. It starts with a G. And he landed one of the best left uppercuts, one of the best uppercuts I've seen in a long, long time. Great fight. They were trading shots. but he threw a perfectly timed uppercut and landed it on Santa Cruz, and he was out cold.
Wow.
It was sweet. It was.
I mentioned today. Today is the it is the 28th anniversary of George Foreman knocking out Michael Moore to become the oldest heavyweight champion of all time.
I remember that night, man. It was so cool.
I just remember, and Joe, you'll remember this. It was early in the fight where Foreman hit Moore with a jab, and I've never seen a man's head snap back as hard. And Foreman came back and tried to double up the jab, and he missed the second jab. And I'm glad that he did, because he probably would have taken Moore's head off if he hadn't.
All right, so I just want to introduce you. That's Joe Tilley, John Freeman Nelson, who, by the way, I don't think this is the first time ever John and Steve are on TV at the same time. They're on Norm Rumack. Oh, wow.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Wait. I'm going to wait till Norm comes on. Now, the sound.
Didn't see the Lomachenko fight.
Yeah, the Lomachenko fight with Lopez. Yeah,
and Lopez, that fight a couple weeks ago.
Gervonta Davis
fight, man.
Gervonta Davis, that's it. Yeah, Gervonta Davis. Good fighter, man. He's undefeated.
John, I just want to say, you're looking at John Freeman Nelson, who got voted the best sports anchor in the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia, the best sports anchor in the state of Georgia. He was taught by Norm Rumack.
And everything he taught me, I ignored.
Yeah.
Norm, you want to say anything to John Freeman Nelson, who won the best sports announcer or anchor in the state of Georgia? Of course not.
Congratulations.
Good.
He might have to unmute himself there, but yeah.
No, Norm, can you hear me?
Now I can, yeah.
All right, so if you...
Hello, Normus.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Hey, Stormin, how are you, buddy?
Good. Nice to talk to all you guys.
All right, Norm, I got to say, I just announced John Nelson. He won the Best Sports Anchor Award in the state of Georgia. Anything you want to say to John?
Incredible.
Oh, I didn't know he was with us, so I'm glad is he on the air with us?
Yeah, you got to switch, Norm. Come on.
No, I just caught my audio 30 seconds ago, so I didn't know who was all on board. But Johnny, congratulations. Well deserved. I first got to interact with John when I was working. It was a brief time before XM satellite radio was sold from the local Canadian owner. Mm-hmm. So I had a gig there late at night. Was from this was 2011, I guess. So it would have been from April until August when they were sold. So that's when, back then I had a nightly show, or it was 6 days a week, whatever. And
Norm, I'm going to put a 24-second shot clock on you.
Anyway,
wait a minute, Norm. You got to say hi to your good friend Steve Carney, who went to Syracuse University. Come on.
I had no idea, Joe, that he went. Did he really go to Syracuse? Thanks for the
I never say that Syracuse guys ever went to Syracuse. That never happens.
No, that never happens. Not ever.
Of course not. Hey, well, listen, you never know. Maybe we'll see how all these votes work out in the election. But if Vice President or former Vice President Biden gets in, there's another Syracuse guy. Who knows? Maybe we can get a quick visit to the White House down the road. Anyway, we'll see how that works out. But
anyways, Norm's going again more 24 seconds. Come on, you're not letting Drew Ebanks say a word.
Okay, well, I'm happy to let everybody say. I'm just a short timer here. I'm only here for 15 minutes, so I figure I better get it all in.
Did you bring everybody their Starbucks or no?
Where's my scarf?
The Starbucks.
Wait a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. Norm, you got John Nelson's scarf from 3 years ago.
I've still got it in storage here, where it's been put away in my. It's kind of a smallish bachelor pad, 400 square feet. So
Swang Gang bachelor pad of Norm Rumack. That wild on the crazy guy.
Yeah,
all
well.
Right, thank you, Borat. It's nice.
No. That is the Yortuk Brothers sketch from Saturday Night.
Yes, that's Steve Martin.
I know, but
Steve Martin and Dan Aykroyd.
The Yortuk Brothers.
But that was sounding more like Steve than Dan, I think.
That was Swang Gang.
So Norm, I don't know if you know this, but Steve Carney works in Tampa Bay, the home of the Stanley Cup champions. Norm.
Yeah, I sort of had an inkling about that, Joe, when I introduced him to you about 10 years ago.
No.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and that was the worst date that Steve had in his life. Now, come on.
Yeah, kind of funny. I also connected you with John Nelson about the same time, I think, didn't I?
No. What about Drew Ebanks? What about Drew Ebanks? Come on.
Yeah, Joe, I need the Toronto phone book to come up with the list of some of the top folks I've tried to bring over to the now prestigious barnburner.ca.
All right, so hold on.
Back the nickname 416 and get it over with.
So since I got John here and Norm here, John, we got to talk about a favorite team, the Chelsea Blues.
Okay.
They're singing the blues this year, aren't they?
5 straight.
They are. What games have you been watching, Joe?
Hey, I knew it. See how he gets so intense? He gets so intense. Look,
it is
like you speak about that overword, that
not
overword fake news, Joe. I don't know what games you're watching.
It's been difference. It's been an absolute difference having Mendy in it instead of Kepa. One of the worst boondoggles they've ever come up with.
Yeah, well, Mendy is like incredible. I mean, what? It's
Kepa
5 clean sheets in a row. What's that?
Kepa is not.
Well, we know that, but it's not only that. Look how they shored up their defense. I mean, Silva has been outstanding. Chilwell has been outstanding. And then those kids up front. Actually, Kai Havertz is off. He's tested positive for COVID, so hopefully he'll get through that quickly. But, you can see why Timo Werner is like, holy smokes, that kid is just electric. And Hakeem Ziyech, they got from Ajax. I mean, the additions they've made this year so far have just been absolutely outstanding.
That team money can buy $225 million.
Well, money can buy. You know any teams that don't buy players that succeed?
Look at Norm.
Tampa Bay Rays.
There it is.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Rays.
Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, I'm the only one in Toronto who supports them, by the way. And it's like, every year they have the third lowest payroll in baseball. And it's like, they
Norm, hold on. I know you got to go soon, so your 24 seconds is up. But do you know Drew Ebanks does on-point basketball? He's starting Drew. Let Norm know, because Norm could be a big part of this. Go ahead, Drew.
What that I'm doing?
On-point soccer. Go ahead.
Oh.
Well, listen, give Drew a break because he just celebrated his 70th birthday a couple of weeks ago.
I know. Hey, a young man said to me today, I said to him, guess my age, and he said 34. And I said, yo, I love you.
Right on. I love you.
I
want to marry you.
34. Yeah. Look at that. 34. I'm looking.
He must be counting in some election then. He must be counting in some election or something. Come on.
It's funny, though, that you mentioned Chelsea. And the thing is, me being home, I've been working at home for the last few months. I work for the bank during the day. That's my day job. But I've been catching a lot of soccer lately, especially since I've gone to start On Point Soccer in the last year. And I'm telling you, some of the young talent that I saw on Chelsea right now and what they've done, I agree with of course, Norm. He's always live and die by that squad. But no, I like what they're doing there. I like what Lampard's doing. But yeah, for Canada, guys, I'll tell you right now, the Europeans are looking to our talent over here hard these days, and it's so fun to be a part of it. I'm working around kids that are right now 16-year-olds that are suited up for the women's national team. I got young players that are playing on TFC Academy right now. And I know for a fact that a lot of the European clubs are setting up operations here in Canada because of the talent. So I'm really excited about soccer. Hopefully we can get Giancarlo on to work on the On Point Soccer side. And then hopefully, Norm, we're going to have a little Chelsea hour with you, man. We got to have something.
Look at the face of John Nelson. Come on, don't do that to John Nelson.
Sorry, John. That's my guy. Norm is my guy, John. I gotta always, I gotta rep.
Hold on, Drew. Hold on. I gotta ask Norm a question before he leaves. I asked Steve this question. Norm, you've been to many press boxes and all that. What was the best food you ever had in a media box?
Outback Bowl.
The best
Outback Bowl in Tampa.
Wow.
That's great.
Oh, geez.
The Outback
Okay.
Bowl. I mean, come on, free Outback Steakhouse. You cannot beat that.
That's crazy.
Actually, you know what? It was 2008, and I was on vacation town. I managed to get myself a press pass to see a Tampa Bay Buccaneers football game.
Oh,
So I
so
got
you got Bananas Foster at halftime.
Oh,
No, well, I don't remember everything about it, but I don't think I've ever seen an endless. And I was there, like, obviously it was 12 o'clock kickoff, right? So it was like a breakfast brunch scenario, and I don't know if I've ever seen. I mean, that was as good as any wedding or bar mitzvah I've ever been to.
Yeah, seriously, Norm will tell you, and I can vouch for this. This is an absolutely incredible 1 o'clock kickoff. You show up. I don't know. 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Whenever you get there, they've got all the breakfast stuff out. They've got donuts and cinnamon rolls and danishes, and they've got
scrambled eggs,
pancakes, sausage.
He knows it by the book there.
Cereal, granola bars, and everything for breakfast, and then. About 11:30, they start bringing out the sandwiches, and then about 11:45 or so, they start bringing out the ham and roast beef or turkey carving stations, and then they have all of the side, mashed potatoes and veggies and everything, and then at halftime, they bring out a cart for Bananas Foster, and so you have Bananas Foster at halftime, and then. And so everything, all the carving station and everything, that goes until I think it's the midway through the fourth quarter, they shut all that down. And then you go down into the locker room and you take care of all your business. You would, interview the players, the head coach, quarterback, whatever. You come back up. They've got 4 freezers out there full of ice cream and, ice cream, Snickers ice cream bars, and Klondike bars and everything, and it's all free.
Norm,
well, that's not. I guess there might be some reporters with weight problems there.
Look at me. I haven't covered a Bucks game in person since 2011. I'm still trying to work off that.
Hey, Stevie, I'll tell you this. One of the legacies I'm proud to leave on in terms of my 20 years at the Fan, another 3 or 4 at satellite radio that I can leave behind as part of my legacy. When I started going to Blue Jay games as a media member, this is in their World Series years, right? Everything was free, including every inning you get hot dogs. There was no charge. I think even at Maple Leaf games, it was either free or it was like $5.
Yep.
Well, back then I was like in my late 30s. I would just empty the trays onto my plate. So by my second year, the meals were $10.
Daily News, God rest his soul.
Oh yeah, no, and even my colleague, I love the guy. Was play-by-play for the Argonauts, Mike Hogan. Mike quickly gave me a nickname which stuck. Was plate with feet. That's what he called me.
That's what they call you when you go out to the Yukon, right?
I'm the reason why media members have to pay for meals.
And say about what happened with Air Canada Center and the Raptors. Come on, the pizza.
Oh yeah, I used to go into the pizza thing, and I would take, honestly, I just why not have just pizza for dinner? I'd have 8 or 10 slices, and then they made the Rumac rule. And they had a sign on the pizza thing: only two pieces per person. And that's.
I will tell you.
You ruined it for everyone, Norm.
I will tell you that in the Rays clubhouse, the players have the room where they have their meals and stuff like that, and they have a fridge, and you can see the fridge from the clubhouse. And there used to be a sign on the freezer. It was a giant sign, probably, I don't know, 11 by, it was, piece of legal size paper, 11 by 14. And it said on it, no Lobatone. Jose Lobatone, who was catching for the Rays, you should go in there and just eat all the ice cream. So they had to put a big sign on there that said no Lobatone because and they're like, because they told me I'm gonna get fat. I'm like, you are gonna get fat, Lobie.
I'll close it out, John. Your stadium, Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz, that stadium there is the newest stadium from all the stadiums we have here.
Yep.
How's the food there?
Oh, it's epic. I mean, you've got barbecue. You've got the local restaurants. You've got all the.
Does Varsity show up?
Does who show up?
Varsity.
Varsity. I don't think they're in it, or if they do, it's. Oh, actually, no. I take it back. They do have a very, very small one, and of course, the line's wrapped around the corner.
Of course.
You've got the
Varsity.
barbecue, you've got steak, you've got the beer, you've got the wine, you've got all the different places. You can do like me if you're a fan, you can pay like $5 and you can get a refillable soda from the fountains, plus either hot dog, and it's like hot dog, fries, and a drink, unlimited fountain for $5 if you're sitting in like the higher seats and things like that. So
all right, so
things that are great for the fans, in addition to all the different food that's there.
Some of my greatest memories was we're sitting with Storm and Norm and eating popcorn at Blue Jays games. That was, and talking life. Like that was my initiation to the sports media biz.
Did he call you a hammerhead? Did he give you a hammerhead T-shirt? That's all you.
No, I don't think he had him at the time. But I learned a lot from Stormin back there eating popcorn at Blue Jay games.
I was going to say you learned where not to park at an exhibition stadium.
Yes.
Oh, I was Skydo. Yeah, exactly.
Norm, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you, and stop wearing your Halloween costume. Take it off. It's already a week later.
Go to the Starbucks. That's how you get in touch with Norm.
Right.
Well, actually, now you can only get mobile because of the COVID. But actually,
I want Timbits.
Well, I wish I'm pre-diabetic now. I had to give up all that stuff.
Wow.
That's because I enjoyed all those media dinners too much. But anyway, you can find me, like, most people on social media. It's Stormin, spelled with an M-I-N, Stormin Norm Rumack on Facebook. And on Twitter, it's this is my regular name, @Norman Rumack. And of course, you can find me.
All right, 24 seconds is done. Come on. What am I waiting to talk here?
Of course, at the very prestigious now, Joe Pasek operated without paying a dime to anybody, barnburner.ca.
Come on. All right. Drew, go ahead.
You can find me at On Point Basketball on Instagram and Facebook, at Drew E. Banks on Twitter, and check out onpointbasketball.com. A new website coming as well, our scouting service for basketball, and hopefully soon an On Point Soccer website, YouTube page, and the whole nine. So we're just doing it all right now. We've been asked to do football, we've been asked to do baseball, and we've been asked to do hockey. As according to Joe, more Canadian hockey players need more exposure. So if he says it, then maybe it's true, man. So that's all we're about, giving the kids.
They also need exposure in Atlanta, since Atlanta is going to have a team again.
No, we're not. We're done.
They tried twice. No.
Well, and failed twice. We're not getting a third shot. No way.
I got a lot of people in Atlanta. I got to get down there one of these days soon. I'm usually down there, but right now I can't. I don't think I'll be crossing the border for a minute. So, but I love Atlanta. I love my people down there for sure.
All right, Joe Tilley up next. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, you can find me at Joe Swiss Tilley on Instagram and Twitter, and also look forward to the Joe Tilley Sports Show coming up soon on Barnburner. Oh, stay tuned.
Yeah. Coming up.
That's right.
Next month.
Welcome. Welcome, Joe.
Now you got Churchson, who's here, and I guess he's from his den.
Yeah, the man cave down in the basement. I'm grateful for this thing.
All right, he'll join us here. Steve, go ahead. I know you guys. Thanks a lot for coming by, Steve.
Before Carney, before you go.
Yeah.
Caught.
Touchdown! Fire the cannons!
Caught.
Fire the cannons! My favorite is when he goes, caught drop. We're talking about Gene Deckerhoff, the legendary.
Woo! By God, Gene Deckerhoff.
That's right. The pride of Tallahassee, Florida, and the Florida State Seminoles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can follow me on social media at Steve Carney. You can catch me on 95.3 WDA weekdays from noon to 3. And on Sundays for Buccaneers broadcasts, we've got Sunday night football against those New Orleans Saints. I'll be on 98 Rock WXTV starting at 5:30, and I think my shot clock's almost up.
Big game.
I'm like,
looking forward to
good job.
All right,
go
John.
Eagles! Go Eagles!
No, Eagles. All right, look at John.
Why Eagles? Why?
First place, baby.
Yeah, the first place
baby.
Eagles. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. And
And Norm, Joe Tilley, ask Joe Tilley what team he likes.
Sorry,
Well,
John.
Joe, if you're leading me in like that, I'm quaking in my boots. What's he going to say? Your team, the Buffalo Bills?
Go ahead.
You got it. You know what though? I grew up in Edmonton, and when I was a kid, I liked the Seattle Seahawks, and you know why?
sorry.
Because our cable station was from Spokane, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
The American cable stations that we got. That's all we could get.
Thing.
So I saw Jim Zorn, right? That was my guy. And
Steve Largent.
We apologize for
Steve
that.
Largent, Jim Zorn. Yeah. So, they never accomplished too much, but I like to watch my Seahawks, but then I moved out this way and it was, inundated with the Bills. And I just I like the Bills. I like Jim Kelly. They had a good team back then,
And Joe, guess who
Andre Reed
this week?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Guess who the Bills play this week?
Who the Bills got this week?
Seahawks.
Oh yeah, that's right. Russell Wilson. Yeah.
Big game.
Josh Allen, Russell Wilson. That'd be a good game. It'd be a good game.
Around the table before you go. Drew, Bills or Seattle?
Oh man, I'm going with Seahawks, man.
All right.
Crazy.
Cut him off right now. Where's our producer? Cut him off. Norm, go ahead.
Gee, Joe, this is such a tough one, and
Norm, you got 24 seconds. Come on.
Well, so far I've got 12 left, so I support you, but not with your Buffalo Bills. Go Seattle.
Norm, take Norm off. Never mind. All right, Steve. Steve's got something.
Yeah. You got heart problems. This is about right. Now, come on. As much as great as the Bills have played this year, and they've been fantastic this year, Joe. Have I not told you that they've been fantastic? Have I not told you that?
Yeah, but you're leading me to picking Seattle. You don't need to extend this.
Are the Bills going to win this week? Are the Bills going to win this week? No, they're not. Pick the Seahawks.
All right, wait a minute. Listen to this. Chris Berman here. Chris, who's your pick between Seattle and the Buffalo Bills this week? Go ahead, Chris.
No one circles the wagons, Joe, like the Buffalo Bills.
There is Chris Berman. Chris Berman. All right, John Freeman Nelson, go ahead.
Well, I agree with. I don't agree with Chris Berman. So that's bottom line. I'm going against the Bills again. I'm going to go Seahawks in this one.
So everybody's picking except me. The two Joes, the best names in the world, are picking Buffalo. Everybody's picking Seattle.
Scott, fix this.
I was going to say, he didn't ask me my opinion. You don't know. Maybe I would have sided with the Bills. I won't side with the Bills, but I will. You never know. You never asked me. No, I have to say, in this case, Seattle will take it. I mean, listen, I'll be real with you. The Bills are the team of the future, but for the present, no, I got to give it to Seattle.
All right, that's Scott. Scott, you'll be back here in 2 seconds here. But John, close it out. Tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. And John will be back here on the Barn Burner TV network, Zingo TV channel 250 tomorrow, 1 p.m. on the Soccer Show with Carmen Asacco, good friend of Norm Rumack.
Yeah, good man.
Easiest ways on the Twitters at OSG Nelson, also at Soccer Down Here. Don't forget to download the Soccer Down Here and OSG Sports apps. Repping the company tonight. Mm-hmm. Available on iOS and Android because if it's free, it's me. Therefore, it's free. So therefore, it's me.
And get 3.
Strange how that works. Meeting 3.
Hey, hold on. If it's free, it's you. It's not you. It's Norm Rumack. Anything free, he gets. Come on.
And also Soccer Down Here re-airs Where the Graveyard Shift on the Barn Burner TV network on Zingo TV channel 250. So Jason Longshore and I run the Graveyard Shift 2.5 to 3 hours at a time, Monday through Friday. So it's fun. Plus soccer over there Monday nights and all the other programming that we have on the grid. But yeah, that's the short version for a very long story.
I make you work hard for those zeros. All right. This has been a great hour going by. Thanks a lot to Joe, and stay tuned for Joe's new show beginning in a few weeks here on the Barn Burner TV network. Drew, I promise we'll talk about basketball next week. Maybe by next week we'll find out if
I need a break. I need a break from basketball. I like talking everything else.
All right. And Norm, get my Starbucks coffee already. I'll be waiting.
Yeah, I thought you still like French fries and milkshakes, Joe.
Yes. But so does Steve. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll be joined by Scott talking about NFL Week 9. But thanks a lot, guys, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Norm, I'll give you a call. Enjoy.
Thanks, Joe.
Be
All
good.
right.
Nice seeing you, fellas.
Show, guys.
Thank you.
Good seeing y'all. You guys are great. I mean
Take care,
that.
guys.
Be good.
Bye.
All right. So Scott, week 9 of the National Football League,
Yes.
right now underway with Thursday nighter with Green Bay and San Francisco. I believe Green Bay is leading 7-3, but this, if you're Fox, you're thinking, wow, great Thursday nighter, an NFC Championship game rematch. These guys, Jimmy G not playing, other guys not playing. Okay, Aaron Rodgers is playing, but the rest of the team is, nobody can recognize Green Bay, even though they're having a good year for, the last 2 games, though. But what did you expect, or what do you expect in this matchup? I know we're coming to the end of the first quarter.
First of all, Joe, thank you as always for having me on. I love the show. I love being part of it. So thank you hugely. Let me start off on the rating side of it. I will get to the game in a second, but keep in mind that you have Green Bay, you have San Francisco, you have 2 teams that have a huge fan base, have history, have a lot to grow on. But 2 weeks ago, they had the Eagles and the Giants. And the Eagles and the Giants, believe it or not, Thursday Night Football going up against the presidential debate in the U.S. still did better in the ratings than 4 of the 6 World Series games. So I don't think it really matters what Fox puts out there. They're going to land the ratings anyway. So let's just start there. Now, in this particular case, yeah, I mean, I don't see any way that San Francisco right now with Jimmy Garoppolo being out, Kittle being out, I don't see this as being a team that can overcome a frustrated Aaron Rodgers who has something to prove right now. I mean, in this particular case, had Garoppolo still been, healthy, had the team been healthy, I mean, when it comes down to it, San Francisco has been brutalized by injuries all season. This would have been a lot better of a matchup. But in this particular case, I think it'll be close. I think it will be decent a game anyway. But yeah, I think in the end, I don't think anybody out there, aside from devout 49er fans, are going to be able to say that Green Bay is going to lose this game.
Yeah, it should be interesting, especially San Fran, of course, NFC Championship champions.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl, should have won the Super Bowl, in all honesty. They were leading by 10, but whatever. All right, so, and Jimmy G, everybody injured. George Kittle injured. So they may go from first in the division to last in that division because NFC West is really good.
That division right there. Had they been in the, say, for example, the NFC East, they would, believe it or not, be in first place. With a 4-4 record, they would be in first place right now if they were in the NFC East. But as it stands right now, they are in last place, which is honestly kind of disheartening because they're the only 500 team in the entire league who is in fact in last place. I mean, looking over everything here, they'd be in third place in the South, third place in the North, first place in the East. Like I said, that's the NFC alone. But sometimes you just kind of end up being stuck in whatever division you're in. Years ago, the NFC East was the division to beat, but times change. In this particular case, I mean, you have Seattle, you got Arizona, you got, the Rams, you got 3 perennial teams that all could win the division right now. I feel kind of bad for San Francisco because they came in with such high hopes after last year. They had so much to build on, so much to grow on, and all of this kind of stuff happened. I'm not going to say they're going to tank for draft picks. That's not going to be what they're going to run with. But it's going to be a very disappointing season.
And they already have 4 more wins than the Jets, so how could they tank? So it's like
we'll get to the Jets, I'm sure.
The Jets are lucky if they get 2 wins, right? Let alone 4.
We're in the New York area here. We have a lot of opinions when it comes to the Giants and the Jets, and the fact that they are combined 1-15 right now. We will invest some time in this show to that conversation.
That we'll get to that. But okay, so with Scott Scherson, don't forget week 9 began now, but let's get to the 1:00 games on Sunday, November 8th. We touched on it a little bit. Seattle and Buffalo. You know what? A lot of people, and yes, I'm a Bills fan, diehard Bills fan and all that, and I want the Bills to win and all that. But to be honest with you, if they had no Cam Newton last week with New England, and Brady was still there, they would lose. Okay. I think they will play up to the competition. Seattle, when they travel east, is always, and I don't know the weather in Buffalo this week or whatever. I think the Bills, if they hold Seattle to 20 or less, win the game.
I can see where you're coming from. And I understand that probably some of that comes from the standpoint of loyalty, but logical loyalty. I don't see it right now. I think, like I said, Russell Wilson, for as great a career as he is having the year of his career right now. You know, there's so much to be able to take care of with that. I mean, again, it's their team is built so heavily on the offense right now. So like you said, if you can contain that offense, then the Bills have a shot. I do think in the end, I think this is going to end up being a shootout. I think this is going to be one of those games where 70 some odd points are going to be scored between them.
If it is a shootout, Buffalo will win.
You think so?
But first of all, I believe if Josh Allen, arguably, he has picked up his game, okay? And I said this so many times last week also. He ran the ball correctly, but fumbled, okay? So it's not his accuracy with interceptions. The thing I'm worried about is, yes, he can run, but it's ball security, okay? So if you have Josh Allen, and let's say the game's 31-28, let's say, okay? If they score 30 points and you have Josh Allen with confidence, Buffalo wins this game. Because look, with the Rams in the same division as Seattle. Look what happened. They were leading big against the Rams. Rams came back, and Josh Allen drove them down for last second, winning the game. If it's a 30-point game or the score is like 31-28, something like that, Buffalo is on the winning end. If even, I would say, Seattle 20 points, scored 20 points, Buffalo 24-20, I can see Buffalo showing up this game and putting a surprising, and Seattle's only favored by 2.5 points.
True.
So even Las Vegas doesn't know like which way. 2.5, doesn't matter. You know, that's the spread is 3, let's say, right? So doesn't matter each way. I could see Seattle winning. I could see Buffalo, but I'm telling you, way Buffalo wins is that. Now let me get to some other games here. This is a doozy. Denver and Atlanta. Atlanta favored by 4.
I don't know. I prefer Denver right now. You know, I like a lot of what they've been able to do.
It's going to be Atlanta. I'm telling you, Atlanta is going to win. Atlanta, you know what? They've been snake bitten, losing time after time after time, leading big and then losing. I think this week they will beat Denver, and they will beat them by 4-7.
I think it's going to be a pick'em type game. I think this is something where, I mean, Matt Ryan is having a great year. He leads the league right now in passing. I think Drew Lock's got potential. I don't know. I mean, right now it's hard for me to say. I'm challenged a little bit here because when I was on the show like a month ago, you put me through this then, and by the grace of God, I went 13-3 that week. So I feel like I've got a little bit of pressure on me.
This week you're already 0-1 because you picked against Buffalo.
All right. So basically I can go 13-2 and still match. All right. Got it.
You're gonna lose with Denver also. You're gonna lose.
I think Denver's going to by 1 point. Yeah. I mean, listen. I mean, right now, yeah. I mean, Julio Jones is having a solid year. Matt Ryan's, like I said, having a really, really good year so far. But I don't know. I'm not crazy about this game either way, to be honest with you.
All right. Now, I don't know why Baltimore and Indianapolis. Baltimore's only favored by 2.
I didn't register that one either.
I don't know. Like I guess they go by last week when Baltimore lost to Pittsburgh and all that. But come on, Indy's Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, Phillip Rivers. And to me, we're halfway through the season, and Phillip Rivers haven't done anything for his new team. That they have a good record, an okay record. He has thrown touchdowns equivalent to interceptions, and yet they're only underdog by 2.5 points at home.
I know.
No, Baltimore all the way.
Agreed on this one, and it's something that the Ravens lost, yes, to the Steelers, but so far everyone who's gone up against the Steelers have lost. The year that Tomlin's having, the year that Roethlisberger's having, this is an undefeated Steelers team, which frankly surprises the heck out of me here. I do not see the Ravens losing this again here. I just don't. I think they're gonna be playing for a lot of anger. They're gonna play for a lot of frustration because they understand how big that loss was last week. So my thing is, I think personally, I think they're going to come out of the gate hard. They're going to come out fast, and they're going to take this game by 13. That's my guess.
I agree. 10 to 2 touchdowns, I'd say. Now, I'm going with a surprise in this one. Houston and Jacksonville. Houston is favored by 8. I'm telling you, I'm going with Jacksonville. But Houston, to me, they're like 1-6 and all that. And they're, but if any team deserves better than 1-6, they got a good quarterback. They got AJ Watt and stuff like that. But I just don't know. And these are what they always say in the NFL, trick games here, because Jacksonville's horrible. Okay, let's face it. And Houston, by the record, is horrible, but they're not horrible. But I think 8 points is too much. I'm not saying Jacksonville is going to win outright, but I say they cover.
Well, they dropped in this case. The last one that I have now is the Texans are covering by 6.5 over the Jaguars. So, but still, 6.5 or 8, it's still pretty close. What's unique here is because both teams are coming off a bye, they're both going to be extremely rested. I am a firm believer in the power of the bye. You saw it last week. I'm sorry, not with bye, or I should clarify that. I'm a firm believer in the power of extended rest. The only reason the Giants lasted as long as they did last week is because they had a week and a half off, which I'll get into a little bit later. So in this particular case, you have two teams that are 1-6 that are frankly playing. They're not playing for much of anything here, but they are rested. They're playing for pride here. I like Deshaun Watson starting this game. I think they're going to take it by, let's say 26-21.
Well, still, it's not covering.
I know it's not covering, but still, it's still a win for Texas.
All right, Carolina into Kansas City. Kansas City by 10.5. Kansas City was favored by 19 points last week against your Jets.
Yeah,
35-9.
It's the Chiefs. You can't count that game against the Jets last week. That was exactly what everybody I think in America kind of expected on there, including Jets fans. Poor fireman Ed over there. But in this case, Christian McCaffrey is back. Teddy Bridgewater should get a little bit of help that way. I do still like Teddy Bridgewater with Carolina. I know it's been a bad season there, but it's something where I dig what he's been able to do. And I think there's a lot to grow on, but this is the Chiefs you're going up against. This is not a team that easily could repeat as Super Bowl champions, and no one would be surprised by it. So I'm going to say Chiefs to cover the spread.
I agree. 31-17, I say.
Okay.
Detroit into Minnesota. Minnesota, a team, last week they go in and destroy Green Bay, let's say, okay?
Yeah, let's talk about that one for a sec. Okay. The reason I lost my fantasy game this past week, my opponent had Dalvin Cook. I would have owned this last week had he decided to bench Dalvin Cook last week. But
Dalvin Cook, to me, can run wild against Detroit. What do you say?
I agree. Again, you got Kirk Cousins, he's making Cousins look better. But I think in this case here, the Lions, I don't think are going to be able to pull this off. I think it's going to be a close match. I think it's going to be within, say 3 to 5 points. But I still have to go with Minnesota on this one. I think Cook's going to have another good game. Obviously not as good as what he had last week, but still enough to probably put up a touchdown and, 80 yards receiving, would be my guess.
And I don't think Drew Stafford's playing for Detroit.
No.
Matthew Stafford.
I knew who you meant. Yeah. Actually, with him being out for COVID,
he's not. So Minnesota's going to win by at least 10 points there. All right. The Bears and Tennessee. Tennessee favored by 6.
I got to go with, I keep going with the ones that basically are favored on this one. I like Tennessee. I like what Ryan Tannehill has been able to do in his second year there. What I think was interesting is last year he was the Cinderella player. He came out of it was a kind of a comeback year for him. He was able to take down New England and frankly end Tom Brady's career with New England in that playoff game. But he's been able to do it again. And I think that's a big thing there where it's showing that he has potential and he has the ability. Between him and Derrick Henry, I like this one right now. I think Titans are going to take it. I do not think they're going to cover the spread. I think it's going to be a close game, like by 3 points. But Nick Foles, I think, is getting more comfortable back there. And I think there's a lot for the Bears to be proud of, but I think they're going to lose this one.
All right. Now it's talking about one of your teams, the Giants into Washington. Washington favored by 3. Go ahead.
You're
a suffering New York fan. Go ahead.
This, by the way, is the game of the week here. These two teams, these are stellar teams here. You know, we got a lot to be excited about with this.
All right, hold on. Did you hit the ball already before Sunday or what?
Yeah, can you smell the sarcasm on me here? Yeah. All right. I'm going to be real with this one, and I'm not saying this as a loyal / suffering Giants fan. The Giants will take this game. You know, they beat Washington once before, granted by the skin of their teeth, big time on that one. But last week, I think helped them a lot mentally. You know, going up against Brady, granted it was at home, granted their defense was something where the defense was rested until the fourth quarter when it finally gave out. But they went up against arguably the greatest quarterback of all time with one of the greatest tight ends of all time and one of the best running backs in the league. And they held them, and they kept this game literally a 2-point conversion away from going into overtime. And that's something, you know, you hear about moral victories. Normally you don't talk about that. This was a moral victory, and they're going up against a Washington team that's in a bit of disarray right now. I think the Giants go in and get their second win.
Wrong again.
You're not polite about it. You're just like, you're wrong.
You said it, and you said it why you're going to be wrong. Washington's coming off a bye.
Yeah, I know.
You said you like teams with bye. They got an extra week. These Giants, I know they're not traveling that far, New York to Washington, but they played Monday night. They had a heartbreaking loss. I'm telling you, Washington not only wins, they win at least by a touchdown.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, though. What do you think Daniel Jones does?
He does play well.
Okay.
He does play well, but you know what's going to do Daniel Jones, and I'm not joking around about this. It's the turnover.
Oh, my God, yeah.
This game is going to be, I could see this game 21-17 for the Giants. It gets a turnover, and then they score and make it 24-21, add a field goal 27-21, and that will be the final score. But that turnover, because every game you could count on maybe 1 to 2 turnovers from him. And this is, you know, in the NFL, and you know, how am I going to say this? In the NFL, these are called growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Growing pains. But you could see this past Monday, he threw 2 interceptions again.
Could have been 4.
But he came and he had the guys against arguably one of the best teams in the NFL, okay? Mm-hmm. Had the guy a 2-point conversion away. So he could throw 2 interceptions. He could play crap for a quarter or 2 quarters, but yet he's there. So the potential with Daniel Jones in the next year, he's going to be somebody they're going to talk about, because you eliminate, it's the same thing with Josh Allen, okay? Everybody was talking about if he can eliminate the interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
I had no problem. Well, I knew he's going to eliminate the interceptions. What I have a problem is ball security. Daniel Jones doesn't run. So there's no...
He should.
He should, but he doesn't. Maybe that next year he looks at that, instead of just throwing interceptions, run for 5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you run instead of giving the ball to the other team?
You know, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Right now, he's averaging about 2 turnovers a game between interceptions and fumbles in his career. But he has shown that he has the wheels there. And what I think what's happening there, too, is I like what Joe Judge, the head coach, has been doing as a play caller. He's doing play calls that are outside the realm of what they normally do. Handoff to the wide receiver. You know, I mean, lateral, you know, basically handoff, lateral, you know, basically pass like it happened last week. That one running play where Daniel Jones should have scored the touchdown. I mean, that was genius. Nobody saw that coming. He from the 10-yard line, he took off on his own, you know, in a pre-planned play. And had he not been tripped up by gravity or air or whatever dust was in there, you know, maybe a bug tripped him up. Who knows? I mean, the dude just tripped on the 10-yard line, which is the Giants.
80 yards for a quarterback. Last time, you got to admit this. Last time we saw that was Mike Vick.
Yeah.
Right?
But here's the thing. Vick can get a free pass on that because of how good he was.
Yeah.
You know, Daniel Jones hasn't had that yet. They haven't actually sold out to him just yet, especially here in New York.
405 game, and this is basically a pick 'em. The Raiders, the Chargers, new stadium for both teams. They play in LA, SoFi Stadium. Who's your pick here? I think could be a sleeper big game for the Raiders.
I think so. I mean, I think right now with both of those teams, the Chargers technically, mathematically are still in it, but they have a lot to play for. Obviously, the Raiders are in line for a playoff spot, so they got a lot to drive on. The Raiders are used to LA in this particular case. I mean, it's not like it's something that they're really not used to. Even though they've moved, they're still in the same division. They've played one game a year in LA this way. I think they're starting to grind a little bit. I think they're starting to become a little bit stronger. I can see that team getting 10 wins this year. I think this is going to be one of them, but it's going to be dang close. I mean, right now, the spread I've got looking at it right now is Raiders by 1.5. I think they're going to get it by 2. Maybe like a 26-24, 20-28, 2018 kind of a score. But I'll go Raiders.
Okay, now Pittsburgh and Dallas. Pittsburgh favored by 14. They could be favored by 41. Who's their coach? Or who's the quarterback?
Mike Tomlin, you mean?
No, the quarterback for Dallas.
Roethlisberger, you mean?
No, for Dallas. For Dallas. Doesn't matter who.
We're going with Ben DiNucci is the new guy for now.
Yeah, Ben DiNucci.
Give him another week.
That's just alone. It doesn't matter. There's no way Dallas is going to even, Dallas. And I'm telling you, at home, I could see 35-10.
Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to my buddy Sheldon, who is a diehard Cowboys fan. This is a team that lacks heart. I mentioned this on our show a couple of times. When Dak went down, the team lost its heart and soul in a lot of ways. When Andy Dalton went down, you saw what happened. Nothing. Nobody did anything. The first rule is you protect your team, you protect your family. Andy Dalton, although he was the backup, is family. Yeah. And they just stood there and let it happen. They didn't do anything. They didn't move. And that is the emotional aspect of what's happening right now in Dallas. I mean, talking about next year, I'm not sure yet what they're going to do. My initial
tank for Trevor Lawrence. They should tank for Trevor Lawrence.
They could. I mean, I think I have a weird feeling. Here's the thing. Had he not been injured, I think Dak would have tested free agency. My initial thought was Jerry Jones is going to go after somebody like Cam Newton, for example. Cam is better in a southern environment. He spent most of his time in Georgia or Carolina. New England is not where he's used to playing, so warmer environments there. But having seen Dak be injured, I think Dak comes back on like a 1-year deal, maybe incentive laden, maybe even a 2-year deal, because he has shown he has the ability. But it's thrown a little bit of a monkey wrench into it, because you can look, Jerry Jones is all about publicity. And if he lets his star quarterback walk, in a contract year, because
especially after what has happened,
I mean, I think it's a bad PR move. And Jerry Jones is all about smart PR. I mean, this is a team that historically has not been good for a couple of decades here. I mean, they haven't even sniffed a Super Bowl since '94. Yet they are the most popular team in the NFL. They get Thanksgiving every single year. This is a team.
Well, that's Detroit.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's another one too. But I think when you think about Thanksgiving, you think about the Cowboys first, and then by the way, U.S. Thanksgiving. That's what I need to clarify. U.S. Thanksgiving, not Canadian Thanksgiving. Sorry about that. But you think Dallas first. And this is a team that's well marketed and gets the good ratings, even though they don't always put a good product on the field. This case in specific, I mean, this is going to be a laugher. If this game ends up within 10 points, I would be very, very shocked by it. And I'm not going to go with that. The spread right now, from what I'm looking at, is currently 14. And I'm going to say that it's going to be, they'll probably Pittsburgh will take it by 16. I'm thinking like a 28-12 kind of a thing. It's going to be close on the spread, but they'll cover on it.
All right, and believe it or not, last 4 o'clock or 4:25 kickoff, probably the best 4:25 kickoff. I can't believe this. Miami into Arizona.
Yeah,
Arizona having a bye last week. Miami Tua playing, and he did nothing. Okay, Miami played a total team effort last week by beating the Rams, and they beat them soundly 28-17. So what do you expect in this one?
I mean, right now, first of all, you're looking at quarterbacks of the future, which I think is a really cool thing. And you're seeing talent. Yes. I mean, Tua did not have a great game last week, but I like what both sides are bringing to the field right now. I think this is not so much a game for now, but I think it's going to be a game for the future to see what these guys are going to be like 2 or 3 years from now. Arizona, right now is 5-2. The Dolphins are 4-3. They are both in a playoff hunt. You know, if you would ask me in the beginning of the year if Miami was going to be in a playoff spot, I would have said no. But 2020 in 2020 has brought many odd things this year. I love this game. I think this is a preview for what a future Super Bowl will end up being, maybe like 4 or 5 years from now.
Wow.
So I think you're going to see a lot there. I do think in this case, Arizona is going to take it. I like Kyler Murray in this case. I do think it'll be close. I think Carolina will take it by maybe 3 or 4. But yeah, I mean, be excited for this because you're watching a future Super Bowl. I think very well possibly happen here.
All right, Sunday nighter. Finally, they get a good matchup. The New Orleans Saints into Tampa to take on Tom Brady and Steve Carney's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa favored by 4.5. They played in week 1, and New Orleans beat Tampa 34-23. That doesn't count. I'm saying Tampa wins this game outright.
Yes. I think week 1, you're dealing with, Tom Brady was still getting used to that team. Honestly, he had jitters. You spend almost 2 decades with one team and you play your first game with a different team. You got a little bit of jitter going on. Not counting last week so much. You know, you're seeing a quarterback right now who's currently has 20 touchdowns and 4 interceptions at 43 years old, mind you. This is a guy who has gotten his team in sync. Gronk is playing better right now. Evans is there. You have a Tampa team that one of my co-hosts a week and a half ago said he believes that Tampa will be the NFC East champion or NFC champion and go to the Super Bowl. So I don't think they're that good, but I think this team is absolutely in sync, and I think they are the team that's going to win the division right now. This is a huge division matchup right now. They have to win it. Otherwise, you're going to see clearly the Saints will have the advantage in a tiebreaker. But I do think for this matchup, this is a great possible future playoff game. And I say the Bucks take it. They're in sync right now.
All right. And then Monday nighter, boy, they get a lot of great Monday nighters. But this one, I'm gonna surprise the world.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this.
I'm gonna surprise the world. The New England Patriots take on the Jets. Jets. Not only because you're a fan of the Jets. I know you want to put one second. Not only you're a fan of the Jets. It's like you said. It's 2020. Everything is upside down. All right. I could see this game finishing a 12-9 field goal fest. I'm saying the Jets win their first and only game of the year, but it's like they win 10 because they beat the New England Patriots. The Jets beat the Patriots Monday night. Book it. If I'm wrong, blame Steve. If I'm right, everybody give me the money. Go ahead.
You know, I love the way you think. I came into this, thinking about this game specifically with the mindset that this is exactly the kind of game that New England needed. New England is a team. Again, you talk about 2020. Had anybody predicted that even losing Tom Brady, that Bill Belichick would be watching the playoffs from his couch with Cam Newton as a quarterback, former MVP himself? You did not see that coming out. I predicted that team 10-6. They're 2-5 right now. 2-6 thing. That team right now is on a 4-game losing streak. So you're looking at a team that will not go 2-6. This is going to be a bad game, but I think it's going to be a game that right now New England really needed because they need to get back into that win column. And the Jets are a team. Darnold, listen, I'm not blaming Darnold on this. I'm not blaming him for this.
I'm telling you, the Jets will win. I'm ready to put some money on it even. I'm telling you, I'm that sure.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to make this interesting? We're doing it on the show here.
No, you know what? Okay, I bet you $20 of Eduardo's money. I put Eduardo's $20 bill that the Jets, Eduardo's $20 bill, that the Jets will win this game.
I won't do that for my wife because she'll probably be like, "What the hell did you do?" If you want to do that, we can. It's going to make we're going to be watching this thing, tweeting each other. I'm sure.
If I'm wrong, blame Eduardo. But
that's fine. Even if I won, I wouldn't hold it again. I wouldn't hold you to it.
Yeah, I know because you like the Jets, but how perfect would that be? It's 2020. Everything is screwed up royally. Okay, now there was some thought that he may bench Cam Newton this week.
True.
And Belichick said, no, Cam is our quarterback. Right? If they lose to the Jets, we may never ever see Cam Newton in a New England Patriot jersey again.
Oh yeah, if you lose to the Jets in this case here, yes, Cam gets benched. I think unless they lose in some bizarre fashion, if he is responsible for 4 touchdowns, and they lose, they don't, he's not getting benched. But if he starts having a bad game, don't be surprised if he gets benched during the game. It wouldn't surprise me, because in this case here, Belichick is a guy who technically coached the Jets for like a day and a half there, whatever that situation was. But it is still a division rival. He is still an impassioned guy that way. So I don't think the Jets are going to win this one. I can see it being close. And to be honest with you, I can see why I would totally buy into everything that you have said. I absolutely can. In some weird way, I'm kind of hoping I'm wrong. I like what you've been saying.
I'm telling you that the Jets will win. It's just, and the only reason I'm going to say this, because it's 2020. You would never think the Patriots on a Monday night game in front of nobody in New York having the worst year, probably all this. And Cam Newton, supposedly a good quarterback. Right now, you're going to laugh. I take Sam Darnold over Cam Newton.
Okay. Darnold, I mean, right now has the lowest QB rating in the league, but I don't really blame him for that. We talked about this.
The ball to.
We talked about that on our show a little bit, where you see these players that are so high ranked, and you see the numbers that Darnold had when he was in college, and they come into the NFL and they're mismanaged in sports in general. Coming from a Yankees perspective, a few years ago we had Jabba Chamberlain. Jabba Chamberlain was lights out, but they could not figure out what to do with him. So they kept, bouncing him. Is he a reliever? Is he a starter? Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. And they bounced him off the team and eventually out of the league, because you mismanage the talent. And I think that's what the Jets are doing with Darnold right now, where if they end up, tanking this season and getting the first pick, they may go after Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, on the other hand, may say no. It's like, yeah, I'm going back to school. Screw that.
Trevor Lawrence will end. Mark my words. Trevor and Lawrence will end up in Dallas.
Oof.
And I'm telling you,
I hope you're wrong as a Giants fan, but yeah, I can see your point.
And I'm telling you, you mentioned Dak Prescott and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that you're right. Dak can sign back with Dallas, but I think he will go to the Jets.
Who, Dak, you mean?
Dak. Or he may go to the Patriots. Because Bill Belichick can tell, and Kraft, look, I'll get this team right again. I just need a steady quarterback. Steady. Dak Prescott is a steady quarterback. He gets blamed because he's on America's team or whatever. But you surround a weapon or two with him and a good running game, because out of anywhere, New England always finds these journeyman running backs that get 1,000 yards at the end. Sony Michel. Come on. How many people would know about Sony Michel? All right. So again, with COVID, with everything going on in 2020, it's really, I'm telling you, I like I said, I'm willing to bet Eduardo's money that the Jets will prevail.
All right, here's what I'll do. I will also bet $20 of Eduardo's money that New England wins.
No, Eduardo can't take $40.
No. He, basically he would give 20 to me, which in turn I would give to you.
Okay, then I like that.
Yeah.
Why only 20? Come on,
because you threw 20 out there.
That if we're both taking Eduardo's money, add a 0 to that. Come on. All right, so I got you on here for another about 15 minutes. Switching from the NFL, let's talk about Major League Baseball. Okay.
Yes.
Major League Baseball. I'm going to start with congratulations to the Dodgers capturing the World Series for the first time since 1988. All right. But Turner, okay. What are your thoughts about Turner there? I understand, okay, it's the World Series. You wait a lifetime to go and win a championship. You get notified in the 7th inning that you have COVID. You get pulled out. I'm telling you, Major League Baseball said, They put him in a room. Do not leave this room or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He comes out. I probably do the same thing. But the problem is I wear the mask. I don't kiss my wife in front of the whole world. And I don't take a shot or a picture with my manager who just had cancer. Okay.
Agreed.
Those things, okay, people say the emotion, but those things, you don't run on the field, then you take a picture 10 seconds later. No, oh yeah, let's party or whatever. Okay, 20 minutes, half an hour, we're going to take a picture. So somebody either had to tell him something or he had to think, okay, I'm out here. I have COVID. I'm not going with a mask. Okay, she's my wife. Fine. Kiss her in public, whatever. But don't take a team picture, at least without a mask.
Yeah. I mean, COVID is one of those things. I get why he was probably doing it. I think it was one of those things where, I'll be honest, I don't agree with it. Let's start off. I don't agree with it. I think it was one of those things where he wasn't thinking. You wait for years for this opportunity. You get pulled.
He wasn't thinking. He wasn't thinking. We're all in agreement. But don't you have guys, Major League Baseball security staff, your own team staff, whatever? Look, you're not supposed to be on the field. Fine. You want to celebrate? Celebrate. You do not take a picture. Do not bring your mask out. Everybody has gloves. At least put the gloves on your face.
This is one of the things that we talked about a month ago, if you recall. Yeah. This is part of the issue. And this is why COVID around the world is spiking, because people are kind of getting tired of the mask thing. They focus on the attention and the energy of the moment as opposed to their response in the future. I mean, in my case, personally, I think I may have mentioned this too. I don't know if I did or not. I know 4 people had died from COVID. One of them hit me really, really hard. My wife is a veterinarian. She has to wear it all the time. And the amount of stuff that we see here of people who were like, no, I don't want to. This is the kind of
hold on. That brings me, because I'm Canadian, okay, I'm Canadian. Now, your president or whatever, we'll touch on that in a couple seconds, but your president gets COVID. Then the next day, I'm cured. Even the week, you're supposed to be quarantined 2 weeks. He goes in Secret Service car, right? They drive him around to like a 7-Eleven waving, hi, I have COVID. I'm the president. Will you re-elect me? Hi. What is going on here?
It's all about winning. Listen, I, for one, thank God. You want to call it God, Yahweh, Cthulhu, I don't care. Flying spaghetti monster, whatever deity you choose. I thank them that this crap is over. You have no idea you guys are protected a little bit up there because you don't understand the sheer emotional darkness that comes from. Listen, this country right now is a very dark country, not because of who's in charge or what billionaire runs the show, but because of the fact that there's so many people out there that hate one another because my 1%er is better than your 1%er. And it's like, no, mine's better than yours. That's the mentality that's here. The kind of crap I dealt with. I mean, here's the thing. I'll be honest. I voted third party. I voted for a woman for president. And the amount of, I can't even say the word I really want to say, the amount of things that I have heard, predominantly from Biden supporters, have trolled me. A dude dropped something on my wall yesterday with 5 F-bombs on it because I did that. And it was one of those things where it's like, dude, you're responsible for your own life. We talked about this, with Turner. You are responsible for your own actions. You are responsible for what you choose to do. For me personally, and I don't like to get political in this particular case, I am not on this show because Trump is president or Biden will be president. I'm on the show because of what we work together to do. And that's where I think a lot of people lose their mentality on it because they get so focused emotionally on my attention is here. My president is this one. Well, my president's this one. You're out of the will. I'm not inviting you to parties anymore. It's like, dude.
But how can you explain? And we'll go to politics now. But how do you explain how many people are in America? 400 million.
About 330, I think.
Okay, 330. Okay, so right now you have an election. Everybody gears for the last 4 years. Your election is November 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Okay? Well, first Tuesday of every November. Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, close enough.
This year was November 3rd. Okay. I can say this because I'm Canadian. I'm proud of being Canada. Canada, sorry, is the best country in the world.
Hey, I don't hate.
Now, I'm going to ask you, how in the blue monkey that you said 330 million, so split it 50-50, okay? At 115 million people vote for Mr. Orange. Wait, don't answer that yet. Canada, as a country, they got 35 million. 35 divided by 115, so about 4 times the size of the Canadian country have voted for Mr. Orange. How in the blue monkey are people not seeing, first of all, a dictator, second of all, a liar, third of all, fake news, any president who basically tweets all day, and when you ask him about Black Lives Matter, what does he say? These are the issues here in the world. Black Lives Matter. COVID. Oh, COVID's good. Knew about it since February, and you said you lost a few friends due to it and everything. I don't know what the number is of people who died or whatever, but think about if he was aggressive, say this is not a flu or something, at least half of the people could have been around here today.
I feel like basically I'm in a position to defend someone I didn't vote for, which is going to be a very interesting thing here. I'm going to say a couple of things speaking from the business perspective. Now, understand, also keep in mind that I used to be a financial advisor for 7.5 years. I used to work with the middle and lower class for a Fortune 500 company that way. The stock market here stayed strong. The economy stayed strong. Unemployment stayed low. I mean, all of the things that Barack Obama had done, he continued with. Like the person or not, you know, the economy did not drop into a huge recession as a lot of people predicted. You know, a lot of people told me privately that they expected that North Korea, we'd be at war with them within 3 weeks. He got North Korea to the table. No one had ever done that before.
Yeah, but here's one thing that Mr. Orange, I'm not going to call him by his name, Mr. Orange is great at.
I feel like this is a Reservoir Dogs thing by calling him Mr. Orange.
Okay, he's great at what is he? He knows business. How many times he has gone bankrupt? Like what, 4 or 5 times, and still has billions. Okay, he knows business, and give it to him. He can talk his game. Other than you're fired, he can talk his game. For some reason, people listen to him, but they didn't. For the last 4 years, and I'm going to ask you this. I asked this part on Lavish. We'll be joined by one of the ladies from Lavish that I work with in about 15 minutes. But I asked this of the Lavish crew. Name 3 things, positive things, that Orange did in 4 years. In 4 years.
I just threw 3 out, and that's speaking as someone who didn't even vote for him.
Okay, so he kept the economy and all that, jobless and all that. I agree. But you said it yourself. He kept Obama. Obama was on the right track.
True, but again, I mean, it's one of those things that it basically, at least he didn't screw it up to make it work.
But he screwed up the whole country other ways. You're talking about. What about the wall? He wants to build a wall in Washington.
All right, let me say this. You asked why people did. I'm going to give a theory on this from my own personal experience. I told you about the fact that in my case, I voted for Joe Jorgensen, who was a 61-year-old college professor. And this is something I'm very surprised I'm even saying, because usually as a rule, I don't discuss politics. I got trashed. The Trump supporters were like, okay, whatever. At least, you're not voting for our guy, but at least it could be worse. The anti-Trump movement has been brutal to me. I mean, the amount of hate and animosity has driven, I think, a lot of people like myself away from their message out of spite. Because if someone keeps telling you how much you suck and is dropping F-bombs on your wall and memes insulting you and talking about how stupid and how you're ruining the country, and degrading you and insulting you on a regular basis, like I have gotten, going third party, let me keep putting that out there.
Yep.
What possible reason would I want to join that movement, considering the fact that they are cyberbullying me on a regular basis and telling me how much I suck? Why would I want to side with that?
I don't even have the answer, but like, I'm going to tell you this, okay? And I'm going to say,
people don't like to be trolled. And the problem with this country is the fact that there's a lack of integrity and honor and respect for one another here.
Now that brings me to the next question. Okay.
So much for baseballs. We got like 3 minutes left.
Well, we talked about baseball, but everybody's talking about the election and all that, so it's topical. So here it is. Okay. He's saying.
Did I just lose you? Oh, wait, there you go. So you just cut out for a sec. Say again.
Okay. He's saying now that we should stop collecting the votes, stop counting, or he believes that he won. If this was an election that day, which is he won. Now everybody's again. It's whenever he's backed in a corner and whenever he doesn't get the votes, he says, "Oh, somebody is quote unquote screwing him." Okay, so now I can't say this because I'm a Canadian, you're American. How does it look for a country like you to the whole world? You're American. When your current president is saying he won, but he didn't win. When he says fake news, but he lies. He said there's going to be a vaccine tomorrow. There's not a vaccine, is there?
Nowhere in the world, as far as I know.
Okay, so
I read something in an Australian newspaper recently. Keep in mind that most of the news that I get typically does not come from the United States market. I try not to say the American market because America is literally the entire Western Hemisphere. So you are the Canadian provinces of America, like we're the United States of America.
North America. We're North
America.
America.
North America here, South America. So I try to stick with United Statesians, even though it's not an actual phrase. But anyway, I was reading an article after, I think it was the first debate in one of the Australian journalism. And the way they described it was, and I think this is the best way to describe it, the United States dumpster fire continues. I believe that's about the best way to describe this right now. You and I think, may have to have a conversation off on this. I mean, listen, we can continue this, but you're running out of time. I have no problem with that. But there are a couple of things I wanted to throw at you privately. Nothing bad. But there's a couple of things that I did have actually want to pick your brain on in this regard. But it's a very, as somebody who grew up here, and born in 75, I've never seen a negative energy, in the society like I have now. The divisiveness and the anger and the hostility. I mean,
what do you attribute that to?
I think social media in a lot of ways, because I think it's a lot easier to troll someone from behind a keyboard than it is face to face. So, I mean, I even saw it when I was on America's Got Talent 5 years ago. The confidence that people have trashing you from all over the world, including Edmonton. I got a few from that area, by the way. I'm just throwing your country under the bus for a sec. I mean, it's a lot easier.
What were you doing on America's Got Talent?
I had hand and face contortion. It was never anything meant to go anywhere.
Hand and face contortion.
My goal with the show was to actually just get on, and perform, which I was able to do. And some of the stuff I've lost because 5 years later, I'm 45 years old, but there are still things that I'm still kind of able to do, even though it hurts a little bit more than it used to.
No, not bad.
Thanks. But yeah, I mean,
that's you want to see a hand and face contortion?
I'll show you. No, but I mean, it hurts now to do that. So I haven't done that one in months. But it was one of those things that was never meant to go anywhere, but the amount of abuse that I took from, 11 million people saw me not succeed. I lapsed into depression for literally 2 weeks because social media is that tough. Where if someone doesn't like you, they control you, they tell you to go kill yourself. They could do a lot of stuff here to get into your head if you let it. And I think that's what a lot of the problems are here, that because we have technology and we're so focused on Twitter, social media.
The bad, you're saying everything bad, but yet we're on a TV show right now.
Oh, no, listen, you asked me why I think it's bad. I think that has a lot to do with it. Yep. No, I'm not talking here. No.
I know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, yes, there is bad stuff in the social media world, but also people should be talking about, and I'm not saying you're not talking about it, the positive that social media brings. Like when you see a story and The Rock sees it and he tweets you.
Oh, yeah.
Makes you feel, because The Rock won't see it other way. In any other way through social media. So through everything bad, there's something good. But I agree with you. When your president tweets at 3:00 in the morning and then takes back his tweet and then retweets it and then takes back to. It's like a president of. Let's face it. If you're the president of the United States, you're the king of the world. Okay.
I don't agree with that one so much, but
no, but okay.
It used to be. I could say that years ago, but not so much now.
Yeah. So again, we'll get a couple minutes. Is there any other thing, sports topic, let's say sports that you want to discuss on with Scott?
Some of the pundits out there, and you would appreciate this, think DJ LeMahieu is going to Toronto.
Well, that's what we talked about here. It looks like, and you're hearing this as breaking news, a source within the Blue Jays organization has told me they have agreed to give them $75 million extra to get players to be a free agent contender. So we were talking with Steve Carney of Tampa, Bauer, DJ LeMahieu, and he was saying if those two are an auto. And by the way, for people who say, you know, Vlad Guerrero playing third base, but he moved to first, and now he dropped 32 pounds since the end of the season. So there you go. There's the person from Lavish. Do you have any entertainment questions? That's Samantha Walters. Do you have any entertainment questions? Sam, wait. He is American. Do you have any questions to say?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it so weird? I'm so distinct as an American. Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. I feel
well,
like
you don't look like you're from the United States. You sound like it though. You sound like you're from Jersey, but you know.
Wait. He was. We just found out, Sam. He was on America's Got Talent. He was on America's Got Talent. Why are we interviewing him for Lavish? Come on, he was living the lavish lifestyle. Look at his portrait behind the wall there. Come on.
Hey, listen. Tomorrow I got a body double on the show, Prodigal Son, for Christian Borle from Smash. So this is my my income, how I usually work with that show predominantly right now. So yeah, I have a couple of stories if you really are bored enough you want to hear some of them.
Go on, look at
oh my goodness, absolutely. Whenever you want, you can come on Lavish anytime to share the stories. Are you going to share one today?
I'll drop you a message later. How's that?
Yes, absolutely. Wonderful. Oh my gosh. Are you going to share one today? Or are you like, oh my goodness, we still have time?
High five from a distance.
But, so let me ask you, Scott, because she's our entertainment expert, Lavish here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 p.m., Barn Burner TV Network, ZingoTV, Channel 250. Also the H.E.R Network. We started the H.E.R Network. Hardworking, empowering, resilient, ZingoTV, Channel 251.
Nice.
What do you think of the H.E.R Network? An American, we started here in Canada, So go ahead. What do you think of that? Isn't it about time that a whole network, not an hour, not 2 hours, a network dedicated and produced and everything.
Produced, directed, and hosted woman for woman. This is like the first time where our voices are kind of heard. But what do you think about that? Go ahead.
I think it's phenomenal. I mean, I talked about this with my wife because we have a production company together. So this is the kind of thing that I think is moving towards, I'll use the word egalitarianism. It's kind of a bigger word. I mean, I view that standpoint of equality for all. Not particular, not when applicable, not when convenient, I guess is the word I'd use, but for everything, and I think the world is moving in that direction. I'm totally cool with it. I have no problem with that. I mean, like I said, I voted for a woman for president.
Wow. Did you vote this year?
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh my goodness. So much is going on with that too. I think that's what we're going to talk about today too, within the media, the elections and everything that's going on, even Canadian news. We've just been covering all of it. We've been here like, who's president, even though it's not our president, but oh my goodness.
Where are you from?
Toronto.
Canada.
Oh, you're from Canada also. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been here?
I've been to Toronto once in 2007.
Wow. How did you like it? Is it like the States or?
Oh, no. I mean, well, here's the thing. It's like a very suburban, laid back, cleaner version of it.
Okay.
I mean, here's
suburban, laid back, clean version.
Canada has, I think, in your like urban area, like 5,500 people per square mile. Manhattan has 70,000. So imagine that particular situation there, where you have a dozen people around you at all times.
Oh my gosh.
But
oh my goodness. I mean, is there certain parts of the States that's kind of like more spread out? Like less.
Oh, yeah. You get out of this area and everybody's like, I mean, all the cities out there. I mean, I was in Philadelphia like a month ago. I mean,
Okay.
Philadelphia, granted, was like 10,000 people per square mile, which is still more than you guys. But for the U.S., pretty, for the largest city in Pennsylvania, it's pretty small. Memphis, as was that last year. Memphis has 2,000 people per square mile for so you leave this area right here, the New Jersey, New York area, and there's nobody.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
Even if you had like the central South Jersey, you get, just open farmlands, you get, tomato farms, deer, mountain lion, the whole shebang on there, which, yes, we actually get those here in New Jersey.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I cannot believe this.
Sam thinks it's Saturday. It's like Saturday Night Live. You make it in New York, you make it anywhere, right?
Pretty much. And I'm fortunate because a lot of the productions and the film stuff is starting up again in New York. I mean, New York has been really, really kicked hard because of COVID. I'm sure you guys know that.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, tomorrow will be my 9th COVID test in just under 3 weeks. Because every time you go to a film set, you got to get the swab done, either the shallow nose or the one that goes all the way back into your head. Yeah.
Well, here, Scott, let me ask you a question because Sam doesn't know that. Maybe even me. What's the biggest role you had on a movie set?
Well, not counting the AGT thing. I did have I did play a character named Phil on the HBO series The Deuce, the one with James Franco. I've done commercials for a lot of stuff like MSG, CBS, things like that.
Hold on, Scott. I know Sam is a big proponent since now it's sort of the holiday season, Hallmark Channel, everything like that. Do you have any movie recommendations for her?
You know what? I don't do those shows usually. Those movies usually film in Connecticut. I have never touched one. A couple of buddies of mine have, but I have never done one of those. But they usually film those in July and usually have them ready by October. I will say this. This is something that's since you wanted to ask about it. My first stunt role was 9 years ago today. 9 years ago at this very point, I was nursing a sprained kneecap from the first day of filming Dark Knight Rises. So if you ever saw that movie where you have the fight scene at the end where the cops are charging, I'm in the front row of that. We did 2 days of rehearsal on that. And right now at this point, 9 years ago, I am nursing a sprained knee because somebody inadvertently rolled into it and took the knee out. So the next day I had to readjust a lot of the fight scenes because it involved running and there's no way I could do that. But that was 9 years ago to this very day I did that.
So hold on, Scott. Now it's Movember. You when I brought you on here, you had a beard and everything like that. I'm trying to grow after 2 days, a beard and all that. Yeah, after 2 days. Come on, it's Canadian or American equivalent is like it's $1.30 for every dollar. Come on. So why would you shave your beard for Movember? Is that because of an acting role?
Yeah, well, in this case here, because I'm body doubling for a clean shaven guy, they want it that way. I mean, if I didn't shave, they'd probably be okay with it. But they want someone that kind of has the same height and facial features. So it's just, honestly, it's easier for that way. Truth be told, my wife prefers it when I have it shaved. So we're doing it for that benefit too. Oddly enough, it also makes me look a little bit younger.
Yeah. Fresh off the womb.
Goes up the neck a little bit more, but
All right, Sam, go ahead. Maybe Scott wants to interject with some entertainment stuff, but go ahead. Give us the latest tea, like you say, in the world of lavish and entertainment. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. No. So I was literally prepared to just talk about the live chat show that we had today with Jen Connors. But basically we were just talking about the elections and then we started doing some fun things towards the end, talking about the best Wi-Fi names that we've heard and stuff. So it was less entertainment, but more about just having a little bit of fun since everything with all the stress going on with the election.
What was the best Wi-Fi name you had?
I've heard one that says it wasn't the best. It was like weird. It was called Pizza Juice. That's what I've connected to in a lobby or something before. But what about you guys? Have you guys had any weird Wi-Fi names?
I had one good one, but go ahead, Scott. You first.
Wi-Fi names. Usually they're play on words. I mean, our Wi-Fi network here is Martin, so it's nothing really that exciting.
Okay, that's not bad.
Let's see what we've got right in this actual name. We've got right in the area.
Right in the area now.
Let's see.
He's in New York. Come on, it should be good.
Well, I was gonna say no. I mean, I'm in suburban New Jersey. Like I said, we have Fox and Deer over here. But no, I mean, I got an Optimum, I got an Altice, some Fire TVs.
The best name I remember selecting or around Yabba Dabba Doo.
Nice.
Yabba dabba do.
Yeah, yabba dabba do. Try to say
At
that.
least that's the Wi-Fi name and not the password. I feel like I'd be like,
It was.
"Is that two rows?"
It was in Niagara Falls. I remember it. It was in Niagara Falls. I don't remember the hotel. Yabba dabba do. Yabba dabba do.
Oh my goodness.
I worked 10 years in IT. That makes me cry.
Oh,
You know.
no.
We had a
wow.
system.
So you've been around, like, I'm guessing, like, 'cause just from hearing this, you've been around in the production area, IT.
I'm an
everything.
old fart. I'm an old fart.
No, I'm older
Oh my
than
goodness.
you. You're not an
So
old
would you
fart.
say that? Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, I'm saying I'm older than him, but he's not an old fart. Go ahead.
Are you?
Yeah, you're 75, you said, right?
Yeah, I'm 45 years old.
And I'm 46. So look.
Oh, so you got me beat.
Your difference. Yeah. So would you say, so with everything going on with COVID, would you say that it's been making it more harder? So you said you had to get a test, like almost 9 now, right?
Yeah,
So is that
probably
every
9.
single time you have to enter the site, or is that like every week?
What happens is, fortunately, they usually do it wherever they're filming. So tomorrow, most of my week this week has been in Astoria at Silver Cup Studios. So they have a nursing facility to do it right on site. There have been a couple of times where I had specifically to go to a specific location. So on Monday will be probably number 10. Then I'm going to have to go into Astoria, not to film, but just to be able to get the swab done.
Oh my gosh.
The swab.
Okay, take us through that for people who never got the test yet, and you're an expert on this, okay?
Apparently.
You go there. What do they do?
Okay, first of all, they do, which probably doesn't surprise you, they do a temperature check to make sure you're below 99. But honestly, I'm pretty low to begin with, so even if I had a fever, they'd probably never notice it. Then from there, what they do is they check, have you been around anybody that's had it? Do you have any flu-like symptoms? The usual questions on that. And then what they do is they do one of 2 tests. Either they do a shallow nose or a full PCR that I found. The shallow nose, they kind of just go right about here and just swirl around inside the nostril on both sides.
Does it hurt, or is it just uncomfortable?
No, that one's actually pretty pleasant. I don't really mind
So
that one.
it's just the surface there then?
That one is, yes. That one is just, like I said, it's like sometimes between 2 to 5 seconds per nostril. They barely go. They don't even go like half an inch in. So it's actually really easy. They'll go a centimeter in. We'll call it that. For the Canadian folks out there. The full PCR. Now that one, am I allowed to say it's a bitch?
Well, not when a lady's here, but anyways.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
I'm going to say that one because what happens is they have to go all the way through the nasal cavity. So they kind of take it all the way up to about here.
So the Q-tip bigger then? Like, would you say it's not like regular? Like,
no,
I thought it was just regular cotton swabs. No?
No. I've only had that one a couple of 3 times. The first time I had it, the poor woman was like, "I'm really, really sorry. This is my first day doing this." And boom, yeah. And she's like all the way up there, and she's doing this, and and then she does it on the other side, and she's like, "I'm going to count to 10. 1,
100,
2." And you're just like, you're sitting there with like this thing up your nose, like that. And it's like you're kind of like you're just trying, instinctively you're trying to like move to get out of there, but you can't. And
so you have to stay still. Is your head tilted back the whole time?
But what happens if, I'm not saying if somebody has it, they automatically rush you like out of the set, have you seen it? Like, what happens?
I haven't seen that. No. What would happen is they would basically, obviously they wouldn't allow you to work. They have the breakdown of pretty much every set you have been on. They have the name list of this, and then they would alert everybody, in that vicinity that's had it. So for me, I also do a radio show in New Jersey every week. One of our DJs got it. Now, it wasn't anybody that I was ever around. It was never an issue that way, but they had the legal responsibility to notify everybody that's in that building. One of our people had COVID. You can't legally say who because of what they refer to as the HIPAA agreement. HIPAA is the Privacy Act here in the US. So you can't legally say who had it, but you have to notify people that someone in your vicinity had it. So you may want to get tested. You may want to get checked on that. Near as I know, none of us have gotten it. Because again, if they're pretty quick with the whole thing. It's like a 24-hour turnaround. And when you get it as often as we do, I'd be very surprised if anybody did get it, because for the most part, we're getting smarter here. I mean, granted, in some cases that could be kind of a low bar, but we had a problem with this. And Joe, I told you about this a month ago. As a case in point, when I left Brooklyn one day, I took the subway back to New Jersey. It's a 21-minute ride. There was 11 people on the subway, including myself. 4 of them did not wear masks the entire ride. U.S. mentality. So this is where the issue comes in, and it doesn't matter what team you support for, which 1% you voted for. Everybody kind of has people like that in their group where they're just like, I don't want to do it. I'll be fine. It's not, don't infringe on my legal rights to basically people in the US. I'm not joking. I'm jumping around on topic here. Sorry. But they invented a fake ID card to hand people to say legally, you cannot make me wear a mask. It turns out the card is fake, but they would hand it to people and say, you can't make me do this. This is how far it went here.
So, okay, let me ask you a question here.
Don't mind if I vant a little bit on this. Like I told you before, I lost 4 people this time.
And Samantha Walters. So Samantha, like I said, me and her do a show, Lavish, it's called, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Of course, your show, The Sports Den, great show and all that. What, you've been in movie sets and all that. What's the most famous movie you've sort of been in?
Well, I mean, like I said, 9 years ago today was Dark Knight Rises. Christian Bale is actually really cool. Matthew Modine was an angel. I was grateful a lot of ways because a lot of the stuff that I've been able to do, I mean, I'll use Greatest Showman as an example. Me and one of my groomsmen were hanging out, a bunch of people. We became a mile family for all the days we worked there. But if you ever saw that Hugh Jackman movie, you saw about 10% of what the sets were. There was 90% of that stuff that you guys never saw in the final cut. For all of the artistry and all the work that went into it, all the museum pieces, it was just beautiful to see. I borderline cried when I was there. If you ever saw the movie, when they set fire to the museum, I was there that night. I saw the fire. I saw them lose control of the fire.
Oh my goodness! You saw them lose control of the fire.
The last take. Remember the last take? I was looking at it. It's like this fire looks bigger than the previous takes, and I think their plan kind of was to just let it go up, and just let it go. But the problem is the building was attached to the building where we had all our stuff. So as that went up, we're looking at everything that we had, all our clothing, phones, everything we had. We didn't have any of it. So we're kind of like, are we going to lose this stuff too? So eventually 3 fire trucks ended up showing up, at Steiner Studios. Fire department put out the fire and they eventually cleared us. And, we were paid for it, for that. But it was weird because we were sitting there at like 6 o'clock in the morning, just watching this thing just go up in flames on a Saturday morning.
Just go up at regular Saturday morning for you, just watching it blow up in flames. Like,
it was like a January kind of thing. No, but it was just like, I remember just this. The point being is that there were so many beautiful sets that were just designed with this. Boardwalk Empire too. I mean, shows like that, the period stuff, the amount of work that goes into it is just immaculate as heck. I was only ever on the boardwalk for Boardwalk Empire one time, and you see block after block after block of just what they did. I mean, that boardwalk cost $50 million to make, and you saw the amount of work that went into it.
Okay, so I got to ask you, we got 10 minutes left. Since we're starting.
I'm sorry, I'm taking up your time too.
No, don't even worry about it. This is so amazing. I'm just like listening.
What has
going at its first American here? Come on, get it.
I know I'm special.
What is your favorite movie of all time, and what is your favorite show?
Favorite movie of all time is a tie. Coming to America with Eddie Murphy or Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen. For me, I personally like, goofy feel-good comedies. I'm kind of a sap that way. I can't handle like dark, brooding things.
You don't like Borat?
Borat, no, because I don't like the camera thing typically.
That's
I grew up being, that kid that was usually, Boraticized, if you want to call it that. So I kind of, I've never been big on that kind of thing. No, I mean,
we like goofy movies. So do you like The Grinch Who Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey, or?
Yes, but I like the original Grinch first because, again, like I said, I'm up there in years, so I remember the original one every Christmas. So you have the loyalty to the original, not the remake. But Jim Carrey was fantastic in that. So,
all right, Sam, the same question to you.
Well, you already know my favorite movie is the one with Jim Carrey, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. So love that. The Home Alones, I love those two.
All 5 of them. There's been 5.
I've seen the other ones, the remakes of the newest ones, which is not with Kevin. So I'm like, it's not
Malcolm
really.
McDowell, Ed Asner was in one, I think.
Yeah, it's not really, but I love the bandits in there. Like I feel like the 2 thieves, they're just so funny to me every single time watching them get hurt. I was like laughing all the time. Pardon?
Joe Pesci.
Oh yeah.
Joe, what about you? Is your favorite movie the same
good
thing?
point. Nobody asked you.
No, well, it has to be a sports movie, right? Come on.
Stuff like I nominate the rookie, Jim Morris.
Rookie is great and all
I watched, yeah. I remember when he pitched for real.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you this, okay? Since we'll go back, we're going to close it out. We'll go back to election. Now, here in Canada, we're watching CNN, NBC, or whatever. What is your go-to for the election coverage?
Anything that's not in the United States.
So do you watch BBC then?
BBC is one of my go-tos. What I find here, and this could get me in a lot of hot water.
Yeah, I want to say Eduardo will save you. You're taking his money betting
on the Patriots. I find that the United States press outlets are very, very heavily weighted towards the guy that they want, the person that they want. So you have, Fox News going Trump. You have MSNBC and CNN going their way. So they're more inclined on both sides to bury a story. That's an important story if it means helping their person win. Now, outside of here, if you leave here, I mentioned the Australian newspaper before, that BBC, you go outside of here. If you look at my Twitter is trending UK. Because the news outlets here, I think, is also part of the reason why there's so much stress and anxiety, because of the fact that so many people buy into there's a psychological term called confirmation bias, where people will be more inclined to believe things that match their already existing beliefs and ideologies. That, I think, is part of the issue that causes the division that exists here so much, because it's like, well, my side's right, your side's wrong. No, your side's wrong, my side's right. Instead of finding a common balance, it has turned into me versus you, good versus evil, right versus wrong.
Right.
Not seeing things from the perspective that we are different. I've often viewed politics the same way that I view, sports teams, or I viewed religion. People, you have those casual people, and then you have those extremely devout ones that their attitude is, I'm right and you're wrong if you don't agree with me. All three of those have the same kind of almost borderline fanaticism to them. And I think that's what's causing a lot of division here, where I will use the word fanaticism towards your political candidate.
Right, so are you saying that more Canadian and UK news is more neutral, I guess, in the sense instead of less biased? Is that why?
Yes.
Right.
Because you could hear a story on Twitter. Even Twitter, you'll see something on Twitter about something that's going on right now. The Epstein thing, for example, you never hear about that here. Nobody over here knows about that because it's been buried big time. If you go on Twitter, if you go on BBC, things like that, you will see a different approach to this because of the fact that they really don't have any horse in that race.
Right. So, I think it's really interesting that you bring that up. I didn't even expect, I keep saying I didn't even expect an American to, watch neutral news and stuff like that. But I think I just have my own stereotypes in my head here.
You know what it is? At the end of the day, I really hate politics.
I know it gets really complicated and messy. It is, but I thought
George Carlin had a great quote back in 1991. The legendary comedian George Carlin. He said, "If you vote, you have no right to complain." Now, usually people have it the other way around, but American politicians come from American businesses, American families, American teachers, American schools. They are the best that we've got year after year. Garbage in, garbage out. And every time you support something, you are reinforcing that thing which, by ideology, you typically don't like.
All right, so we're about 7 minutes left in the third quarter, and Sam predicted this score. She said Green Bay will take this game 35-6, and I said 35-6. Well, right now,
okay.
In the third quarter, it's 28-3 Green Bay. Maybe we should have bet Sam's money here instead of.
Well, this isn't the game we talked about, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers is lighting it up.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers lighting it up. All right, Scott. First of all, tell everybody how they get a hold of you social media wise. I know we were talking about social media, but tell everybody also where they can catch and when can they catch your show.
Sure. My name is Scott Churchson, son of a church. I am literally the only Scott Churchson in the United States, which has its own story there at some point too. So you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find me on IMDb or my website. Basically, you Google Scott Churchson, CHURCHSON, and you'll find me. It's pretty much that simple. There's only pretty much three of us, I think, that have the name in the country anyway. Go ahead.
And the show, your show.
Yes. But my show is the Sports Den. It is on 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, right on ZingoTV channel 250 and 122 podcast networks as well. Coming up this Tuesday, we have Mike Houston, who played Correctional Officer Lee Dixon for 4 seasons on Orange is the New Black. He's going to be talking a lot about the Denver Broncos, and he's got a couple of really interesting ideas and concepts when it comes to how COVID and the empty stadiums is affecting kickers.
Got to watch that Tuesday, 4 p.m.
Yeah. He's a diehard Broncos fan.
And you know what? I think Sam likes you. You're more than welcome.
And please. I was about to say that. I'm going to definitely tune in.
If I don't have your email, I'll find you somehow. So
go ahead, Sam. You're invited to Lavish anytime because, I need a day or two off. These people got me working and working and working and working. Never mind. I love doing
it's sweat equity. You work now so you can rest later.
Yeah, I don't rest. I work and work and work. But here, Sam is one of the best up and comers on this network. Also, the H.E.R network. Sam, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Yes, you guys can get a hold of me on Instagram at Samantha_media and on Twitter at Samantha_media with an extra at the end. But definitely tune in to Scott's show and to Lavish because Scott is going to be featured on there. I cannot wait to hear all these stories too. And you're the third Scott in the States. So the only Scott, you said only 3, right?
The only Scott Schertzen in the country, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, perfect.
The last name is only 75 years old, so that's why.
So much history behind everything you do. I love that. Oh my goodness. So definitely tune into that.
America's Got Talent. What about Lavish Got Talent? What about if I'll be the judge, and between you and Sam, we'll do Lavish Got Talent, not American. We'll put North America, whatever, in England, Europe, whatever, Swahili, Hawaii.
Not unusual to have fun with it.
Oh, wow.
And the winner gets up $20 of Eduardo's money. How about that?
Yes, we have to stick with that. Yes.
Yeah. All right. That's been
Thank
you, Scott. A great show, Samantha. Also check out Samantha with me at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 p.m. here on the Barnburner TV network, ZingoTV channel 250. Also the H.E.R network. H.E.R stands for what, Sam?
Hardworking, empowering, and resilient.
Nice.
And that's ZingoTV channel 251. And check out Scott's show Tuesdays 4 p.m. to 5 or 4:55. And the Sports Den, and check it out Tuesday. Big time guest. Like to take our time to say thank you to our producer Teresa. Teresa has always been doing a great job here. And stay tuned for more great programming here on the Barnburner TV network, ZingoTV channel 250. Until we meet again. This is Joseph Pasek signing off. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.